Be careful. Sneaking up on you. It's a great white death. Yeah. It's everybody. There you go. Everybody. Support for everybody. There you go. Oh, it's that kind of day today. Oh, yes. That kind of day today. I just, today has been a day where you wake up and you feel pretty good. You know, you get out of bed and I'm like, I wasn't as sick as I was yesterday. And yesterday I wasn't as sick as I was the day before. And I'm getting a little bit better. I'm starting to feel like I'm on the mend. I'm doing okay. And then things begin to come at you. And they kind of, I don't know why I'm getting. Oh, you know what? The echo is on. There's a reason why. Duh, I'm an idiot. Um, there comes a time in the day when you get something that comes to you and you're like, that aggravates you, you know? And then another thing, it aggravates you. And before you know it, you got like 11 things that aggravate you. And then you find yourself like walking around a house or walking around the yard, you're pissed off. You don't know why. Nothing's really happened to you. It just stuff's pissed you off. That's the way I am today. So today, we're going to let it hang out. We're going to let it hang out. And then, just as I'm settling in, and I got my water in my hand in my Clay Matthews glass from Quick Trip from years back. So I'm sitting down, and I'm relaxing, and I'm watching the snow outside. By the way, Tiki Cam is back, and the snow is falling. Now you can see it. So Tiki Cam is back today, just an FYI. And you can see it if you're watching on the stream. So I'm sitting down, and I'm like watching the snow. I literally, in the studio here, I've got a chair that's next to me where the guest would sit. So I pulled the chair over. I've got my feet up. I'm sitting here watching TV. I'm listening to Ebo. Ebo's playing some kind of really, the relaxing kind of music, and I'm listening to some chatter, and there's a lot of love going on, even though I disagree with some of the stuff that's being said. But that's okay, because I'm like, okay, I'm relaxing. And then Grant Bills comes in and drops like the massive dookie right into the middle of the punch bowl with the idiot that called yesterday. Grant, how you doing today, man?
I'm doing good. That's why I didn't tell you about it yesterday. I knew it would have stuck in your craw. Climbed up your rear end.
I would have loved to have that guy in the air. I would have loved it. It's, here's the thing. I understand what he's attempting to do. The problem is he's attempting to do it to make something where there's nothing. And that's the issue is, and again, for those that don't know, please explain what happened yesterday with a caller. So people that are just tuning us in that know, otherwise they have no idea if they weren't listening to Ebo.
So I got a call from someone at Chippewa Falls yesterday.
I can't believe all of America was not listening to Ebo because the show. So right. So let's give him props.
So I got a call from someone in Chippewa Falls yesterday, and it's when we were taking calls. So like I kind of get in this rhythm. It's like Bill Michaels show. What's your name? Where are you calling from? And this person said, blah, 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 from blah, blah, blah. And I said, okay, you want to talk Packers with Bill? And they're like, no, I have a bone to pick. And I'm like, oh, okay, because that happens sometimes. And this person was mad because we played a song that referenced shooting people, or like at the end of the show. And I'm like, what are you? Like, it took me a minute to figure it out. And then I realized they were talking about the Toby Keith song.
Okay.
Beer for My Horses.
Right.
And I'm like,
by the way, for those that don't know, it is a cowboy song that Toby Keith wrote with Willie Nelson that talks about how, going back to the old days, bad guys were basically, there's a part in there where it says hang them from the highest tree.
There were consequences.
Right. There were consequences to your actions about that's, back to the old days, so to speak. And then it says at the end of the refrain is, whiskey for my men and beer for my horses. And that was always the thing, is that cowboys would ride to the local saloon, and they don't call it a bar or anything. Like, it's not like they're driving to Chippewa Valley or let's go to Leinenkugel's. No. They're saying, let's go into the saloon and you get whiskey for the men, beer for the horses. In other words, a man's man, machismo, we go take care of business. Bad guys are bad guys. There is no distinction between the two anymore, between good and bad. It's just here it is, and that's what it is. And this guy relates it in some way, shape, or form to the tragedy that took place in Madison, correct?
Yes.
He is as reaching can get.
That's what I
just like, said. You're looking for a reason to be pissed off.
I don't know. We play the song every day.
Yes. And I don't know. First of all, I hate calling people like Karens because I think it does. I know a lot of Karens. I know 2 or 3 Karens in my life that are really good people, and they hate it because whenever they walk into someplace and they say, hi, what's your name? They're almost now embarrassed to go, my name's Karen. They've been kind of chastised in that sense. So I don't even want to say that. But what is the male version of that? It's like, good God. So here's my stuff today. And I'm firing right out of the chute. What the hell? Okay. So I sat down last night, did the huddle, and a friend of mine, Packer Dave, texted me and he said, Bill, you got to watch the Aaron Rodgers documentary. And I'm going to do it. I was going to do it last night. And I thought, you know what? I want time. I want to be able to consume the whole thing. And to be honest with you, Kristen's kind of the documentary buff too. So I texted her. I said, hey, I'm thinking about watching this tonight. She goes, oh, no, don't. I want to watch it with you. So tonight we're going to start watching this thing. So I started reading stuff about this. And Rodgers is making the news. He's got a documentary out. He's starting to play better. He's got now the argument with, Ryan Clark, and everybody wants to blame Ryan Clark. If you're a Packers fan, you're pissed off. Well, Ryan Clark, you got busted, man. We whooped your. It's like, who cares? Because what Ryan Clark has said is not wrong. It's not wrong. There's nothing there that's wrong. Maybe he said it in a very, emphatic way that people didn't like, but he's not wrong because of what Rodgers said about people being in the media, taking shots and this and that. And he wants to diminish people that are there speaking. So first and foremost, then he drops the, I guess in the Pat McAfee show that he has to go back to, well, he's vaxxed. And if that's your argument, you lost me. Your credibility's gone at that point. That's like every time you get in an argument with somebody about anything in politics today, you're an ist. You're a racist, you're misogynist, you're homophobic, you're whatever it happens. It's like, okay, you've lost me because you can't even talk to me intelligently now. You're gone. You're done. You've dropped the R card because you have nothing left in your quiver mentally to be able to actually argue a statement or argue a fact or a non-fact. So and so automatically that's what you blanket cover people with because that's shaming them. And that's what Rodgers did. So that's when he lost me. Okay, he lost all my credit. He lost all credibility. Then, so I was, what was it, yesterday or the day before, you and I were talking, and I had talked about Dan Orlovsky. I mentioned Dan Orlovsky. And I think I heard it on Ebo's show, too, today. So this guy comes after me I wake up today, and I'm looking on Twitter, and I'm looking on Instagram and stuff, and this guy, in my email, the guy comes after me like, how can you use it? This guy sucked, and this, and I'm like, whoa, wait a minute. And this is the same thing that happened today. So I wrote back to this guy very calmly, and I said, just because he wasn't a great player doesn't mean he doesn't know the game. There's a lot of great players that weren't great, or there's a lot of players that weren't great, but they're great at analyzing the game. You can go to baseball. Tommy Lasorda and Sparky Anderson, they were not great players. They were not good players, but they knew baseball. One of the best managers we've ever seen is Craig Counsell. He wasn't a great player, but he had to know baseball and knew all the nuances to be good at certain things. And then you start to look at other coaches. Well, there's a lot of coaches that never played football coming the lower ranks of college. Do you think McDaniel was a hell of a football player? Do you think Matt LaFleur was a hell of a football player? You don't need to be a great football player to understand the game of football. So that was his argument. So then he comes back to me and he says, instead of arguing that, well, you're a Rodgers hater. I said, I'm not a Rodgers hater. As a matter of fact, I was a very good friend of Aaron Rodgers. I said, was there a falling out? A little bit? Yeah, but not so much on my end, more so on his end. But I've been very honest about things. I've praised him as a Hall of Fame quarterback. I've praised his ability. I've always said he's the best quarterback I've ever seen play. I don't necessarily agree with some of the things that he said, and that's okay. Because I can criticize that. If he can criticize everybody else, I can criticize him. So, but there's these people that put these guys on a pedestal and they get all pissed off. How dare you try to, besmirch the reputation in some way, shape? That's fine. We're not trying to besmirch the reputation, but I didn't start talking about it just to start talking about it. When stuff is brought up and stuff is made public, it's there for us to look at. It's thrown out on the table. You don't walk up to Thanksgiving dinner with 50 people around the table and throw your root out on the table and nobody's supposed to mention it. You threw it on the table. So once it's on the table, everybody can look at it, talk about it, do whatever they want with it, right? Right. So anyway, this guy comes at me, and the next thing you know, it's everything. It's, why don't I have more black people on our show? Why don't we go after more women on our show? Why don't I, why am I in Waukesha, Wisconsin, which is predominantly, and I was just like, you got to be kidding me, man. This is the way my day's starting off? With like 3 horses' asses floating around out there that are actually breathing the same air that you and I are. And really, when they exhale, they're stinking it up more than any human being should be allowed to stink it up. Holy mackerel. That was the way I started off today.
Well, this is why I didn't tell you about it yesterday, although maybe that would have been better so you wouldn't have had to start your day with it today. Or I could have just kept it to myself. But I knew Ebo would appreciate that story because I told him about it yesterday morning.
Yeah. No, that's great.
Happened.
Yeah, that's great. Heck yeah. I love that stuff. So anyway, that was the way that my day started off today. And I thought, if my blood gets going like this on it, because tomorrow I'm wearing the bunny outfit. Are we doing that tomorrow? Are you doing your thing tomorrow?
I'll wear a sweater and I'll find a Christmas hat or something. I'll dress up festive tomorrow.
Out in Madison, you guys actually have the Christmas party tomorrow, right?
Oh yeah, Pam Yani puts out a spread, man.
Does she really?
Oh yeah, it's well, not just her, but the whole farm team, which is the studio right next door.
Pam's fantastic.
Mm-hmm.
I have not seen Pam in a while until I came out. The last time I was out at the station, Pam came walking by. All you want to do is hug Pam. And because I'll tell you this, talk about beer for your horses. I'd love to go out like on a farm, trip with her and then head to the bars in the saloons. And this is what I like to do. I like to walk in and, I'm a bigger guy. I'm 6'6" and I'm 265 and whatever, So, but then you get somebody that's always a little bit buzzed and for whatever reason, they feel like tough guy. And I want to go drinking with Pam and then have them say, you want to step outside? I'm like, I don't step outside. I don't worry about it. And then I turn to Pam and go, Pam, get him. Roar! Pam would just flex up. Pam can whoop some ass. That woman worked on a farm. That woman can whoop ass. I'd love to just go drinking with her because no matter what happens, you're safe with Pam. Safe with Pam. And then you take Ebo with you because he can go out and lift their Toyota and all that kind of stuff. And then we can make bets and everything. I can't do that crap anymore. My back's bad. My knees are bad. My ankles are bad. I'm a mess. So.
And also I'm good for a joke here and there. That's about all I'm good for. Yeah. Physically, I bring absolutely nothing to the table, but we're good hang. And I've been on a lucky pull tab streak too. I won 100 a couple weeks ago.
Did you really? Good for you, man. Kristen plays them all the time. And every now and then she'll spend $20, win $2 and feel like we've won something. And it's like, no.
You're up $2. What are you talking about? That's how it works.
I'm down 18 because she doesn't carry cash. I'm down 18.
A glass half empty point of view.
I was thinking about this. And this is from my buddy Mark. He said, hey, don't forget, if you really run into a bunch of badass dudes and you can't whoop them, bring Austin. So at least you can throw some chum in the water.
I'm going to clip that and send it to him.
Oh, that's fantastic. Poor Austin, man. Austin was good at the party. Austin had a good time. Did he get hammered? I didn't talk to him a whole lot.
He was pretty buzzed.
Yeah. Okay.
I think so.
Okay. I didn't hear him like shouting out booby or anything like that. So I knew we were good. But yeah, it was a good time. So what else do we have for you today? Oh, we got Paul Charch coming up here in about a half an hour. So we got the Charch is going to be with us today. Looking forward to that. Things that, have just pissed me off. It's going to come out randomly throughout the day. I just want to let you know about it right now. So it's almost like it's a belated Festivus. It's what it feels like today. It's just a belated Festivus. So we got that. Rick said that Austin talked to any girls. He talked to Kate. It was funny because this party, we had more like single women at this party than we've had in a long time. And it's, it wasn't like it was packed with a bunch of women, but we probably had 10 women walking around that were all single, So we don't normally get that. Kat was, speaking of that, by the way, that was the first time Kate met the guy that she was dating at the party. Am I correct in that? By the time you guys got, now I didn't drink a whole lot, but I was running around.
No, I think that was Justin, right? Your friend Justin. That was the first day, according to Mike.
That was the first time that Justin and that girl went out. Yeah. My buddy Justin. But I thought that was that guy that Kate was with? Was that the first time they had went out together?
I can't remember exactly.
Yeah. Okay.
I learned about that in the middle of a Mike Clemens story about something that happened with the pack. I don't know. It all starts to blend together.
Yeah, I know. That's kind of the way it went. I get it. I need to regroup. I woke up today. I felt really good. Took a shower, the whole thing. Worked out this morning. Got the blood going and then got all fired up. And I'm back and I still got, the head congestion. But now I was sitting down. I was just relaxing, man. I had my water sitting here with me. I was watching it snow. And the next thing you know, bam, now I'm sweating again. Got all worked up. That's good. That's good. My mom always said, get your blood going early on. So just for those that are watching on the live stream, there you go. We'll check it in throughout the day. The Tiki Cam is back and the snow is flowing. I'm sure it is in your area as well. So we'll keep an eye on it in case any squirrels run across the back of the patio and slip and crash. And then we'll talk about the accidents that are out there. I don't know why, but people said, hey, let's see the Tiki. So I said, okay, we'll put up the cameras today. So there it is, live and outside, snowing outside. There you go. All right, let's do this. Let's take a quick break. We're going to come back. Got a lot to get to today. Just a lot of fun stuff. And Jeremy, you're absolutely right. You can't fix stupid, man. You just can't. You can't. Some of the things that people say, You just can't. Today might be the day that if you want to do the airing of the grievances, we can do that today, since we didn't really do it for Festivus. If you got something to say about just people in general, I can go along with that. I don't have a problem with it. Let's do this. I'm wearing the shirt today, and I'm bringing you right now our friends to Point Brewing. Point Brewing, brewing excellence since 1857. Whether it's the kids' stuff, the kiddie cocktails, the cream sodas, all the kind of things that they have at Point Brewing, or it's the adult beverages, the Amber Lager, or the Point, the original, as a matter of fact. And then you've got Snow Pilot that's out right now, the Drop Dead Blonde, which is what I love. It's kind of the lighter beer, 99 calories, because, I'm watching my figure. I'm just watching it kind of morph into some kind of, pinball thing. I don't know what the hell it is. Anyway, that being said, Point Brewing, great stuff. Celebrate responsibly all throughout the holiday season. Celebrate with our friends at Point Brewing. Brewing excellence since 1857.
Covering Wisconsin sports like a blanket. This is the Bill Michaels Show on the Wisconsin Sports Zone Radio Network.
Ho, 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 my back.
Santa?
Ho, 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 Gina Della from Pella. You've been a good girl this year.
Is that why you're in here building new windows?
Yes. Next year, how about just asking for a Pella gift card? My elves are used to designing windows from other places where they're all pretty much the same. But Pella? Ho, ho, ho. So many customizations and designs. My elves aren't qualified, so Santa has to put in some overtime. Ho,
Let me make a call. BRB.
Frighteningly fast pellet team at your service. Let us take it from here, Mr. Claus. And Gina, next time.
Yeah, I know. Santa already lectured me. Ask for a Pella gift card.
What if you need new windows or doors, but you're on the naughty list?
Right now at Pella Windows and Doors of Wisconsin, get as low as $19 per window and $81 per patio door per month.
Ho, ho, ho. Visit the Pella site and to all a good night.
PellaWI.com. Certain restrictions apply and 12/31/2024.
Bill Michaels will resume in 3 minutes. Bill Michaels will resume in 2 minutes. Bill Michaels will resume in 1 minute. Bill Michaels will resume in 30 seconds.
Poking the bear. That's my guy. A little bit of me's rubbing off on you, Grant Bills. I like it. I like it. Like it a lot. How are we looking? That's great. That's great. I love that. Love that. Poke the bear. I can't believe you played that song at Toby Keith. Don't you know Toby Keith is dead? I think his dad's dead. His mom's dead too. His dad. Did you know he was dead? Good gosh.
You ever seen the movie Beer for My Horses? CMT movie?
I've never seen it. No.
I mean, it's awful, but it's kind of.
Is it?
you
Okay.
know, well, yeah, because it's a CMT movie with
Toby
Willie
Keith.
Nelson and Toby
Yeah.
Keith. Yeah, of course it sucks. Kind of
The
funny.
song was good. I like the song, but yeah, no, I get it. We got a lot to happen to today. Here's the question that was asked earlier today, and it got me thinking. But right now everybody believes that the Philadelphia Eagles are the best team in the NFC, and only for the fact that almost because if you want to call it luck on their part, or because the Lions have just become so depleted defensively speaking. And the question was, is the only team in the NFC that could beat the Philadelphia Eagles the Green Bay Packers? And I think it was on the 4-letter network on ESPN this morning. I don't know for sure. I had 2 or 3 different TVs going when I was working out today. So I think that's what it was. Anyway, without giving people credit, who cares? So I started thinking about this, and I thought, what team in the NFC could beat the Eagles? And because the majority of people that were at the table, and I really do believe it was the ESPN side of things, the majority of people at the table said no, that's not true, that the Packers aren't the only team or aren't the threat to the Eagles, basically. And I thought about that for a minute. I'm like, whoa, wait a minute. Let me think about this. The Lions with Montgomery and Jahmyr Gibbs, now they lost Montgomery now too, but with the weapons they had, the offense, and then the defense back then, yeah, they were a threat to the Eagles. Okay. Tampa Bay? I don't think so. I don't think Tampa Bay and Baker Mayfield could overcome that, especially going into Lincoln Financial. So then I thought, okay, what's the next team? Well, right now, leading the division out west is the Rams. And I thought, well, maybe the Rams. But I don't think the Rams have a run game to where they could go in and just kind of churn it out. If they needed to grind out yardage, I don't think the Rams could really do that. So then I thought, well, what about the Vikings? Well, the Vikings, you really have to have Sam Darnold on his game. The Vikings, maybe. And I kind of did that, I guess, a little liberally, with Aaron Jones being able to run the football. And if they give him a little space, yeah, I mean, you got Cam Akers as a backup. They can share time. I mean, then you've got, TJ Hawkinson at tight end. You've got good wideouts in Addison and Jefferson. And their defense is pretty solid. It would all come down to the quarterback play and how much you're going to buy into Sam Darnold in the postseason. Because here's the argument that, and then the whole discussion morphed into MVP. And then it went from Josh Allen to Lamar Jackson, who's got the better numbers, and then could Saquon Barkley possibly be the MVP? And they said, well, he's not even the MVP in his team. And that's where I vehemently disagreed. I'm like, look, the reason Jalen Hurts has been better, the reason the passing game has been better, the reason the offensive line has been better, and Nick Sirianni looks like a genius, is because you've been able to give him the rock in damn near every game and say, go get him. Because he's been that good. He has taken the pressure off of everybody. And without the pressure, you haven't seen the cracking in relationships of Jalen Hurts and Nick Sirianni. And the way the season started at 2-2, you did. And then they go to the bye, and then everything kind of became kumbaya after the fact, and they've been not doing nothing but reeling off wins. So I disagree vehemently, because I said, no, Saquon Barkley's kind of the straw that stirs the drink. So could you go into the Lincoln Financial and get yourself a win? I think the Vikings could. But to me, you've already seen in a very hostile environment in Dallas last year, the Packers didn't blink. The time the Packers blinked was at the end of the game in the divisional round in San Francisco, when Jordan Love stupidly threw one up for grabs and pretty much ended the game and sealed the fate. That was it. Other than that, they were driving. Now, was their defense perfect? No. Was their offense perfect? No. But they were able to go in and say, look, we're going to go on the road here. We know we're not going to have a home game. And we're going to go on the road, and we're going to have to, go back to 2010 when Ryan Pickett looked at me and he smiled. And he said, we're going to have to eat it like candy, like the boos and the jeers and all that. And they actually went into Philadelphia, remember. They went into Philly and got a win. Then they went to Atlanta and got that win, right? Then they came back to Chicago and they got a win, and the rest is history. So I'm kind of like, no, I think the Packers could go there because the Packers have enough. They don't have stars. They've got enough weapons that I think they could at least keep up with the Eagles. They could score quickly with the Eagles. They've got Josh Jacobs to be able to run the football. They're going to have, you would assume at some point, Marshawn Lloyd back, but I don't even know what kind of legs he's going to have and what he's going to be able to do or not going to be able to do. But you still have Emmanuel Wilson and Brooks as well. So you've got, and not a three-headed monster, but at least you can give Josh Jacobs a breather, and Emmanuel Wilson has had some success. And then you've got a good tight end, and you may get Luke Musgrave back, which will add another dynamic. Plus, you've got 4 legit wide receivers and an offensive line that's top 3 in pass blocking. So, yeah, I think you could go into Philadelphia and do some damage. Now, the biggest question would be how many stops? Because if you're Matt LaFleur, you got to sit down with Hafley and you go, how many stops can you give me? Can you give me 2? Can you give me 3 stops? Because if we got to score continuously, that means Matt LaFleur has to be on his game. But can you give me 3 stops? Can you get off the field 3 times? Because if you can, I think we can win this game. If you can hold them under 25, I think we can win this game. And so, yeah, I think the Packers could be a threat. I think the Packers could. This is a little bit of a diversion from where we were when they got the win on Seattle. And we were doing the postgame show because the postgame show was, here's the same things. Here's some of the flaws, the clock management, taking your foot off the gas in the third quarter, things like that have kind of hindered this team from really blowing teams out and giving you that dominant victory. That's what we've discussed. However, that does not mean they don't have the ability to do that. Maybe it's the self-discipline because they're a young team. Maybe it's Matt LaFleur's still learning his younger guys. Maybe whoever's been yelling into his ear to challenge some of these plays, because it's not Matt LaFleur just doing it on his own, okay? He gets somebody's in his ear going, hey, you got to challenge that. So whoever that guy is, that guy's terrible. Matt LaFleur is going to take the heat because he's 0-6, but that guy's terrible. So if you correct a few of those things, or you just play to your ability, not over your ability, just play to your ability, the Packers, I think, could beat damn near anybody. They could. Packers could be a team that they go on the road the entire time, and just like 2010, when they don't have any business being there, suddenly they find themselves winning a championship. Do I think it's going to happen? I think the odds are probably likely not. But do I think they have the ability to do it? Hell yes, I do. I think it's a good football team. I just don't think that they have enough veracity up front in the trenches, defensively speaking, to be able to get stops when needed. They absolutely positively have to be able to look at the defense and say, you got to go get us one. Much like Kevin Green looking at Clay Matthews saying, got to get a turnover, man. You got to go get me one. And then he went out and did it. I don't think they have that guy. I don't think you can look at Rashawn Gary and go, you got to go get me one. I don't think you can look at Quay Walker and say, got to go get me one. Maybe Edrin Cooper, maybe Isaiah McDuffie, and they're going to get a little bit of luck and a little bit of maybe somebody takes them a little bit lightly. But maybe at that point that happens. But I don't think you can just say, go get me one. I don't think you have that ability. You don't have a future Hall of Famer in Nick Collins in your secondary. You don't have the defensive player of the year in Charles Woodson in your secondary. You don't have a guy coming off the edge the way he was getting after quarterbacks in Clay Matthews. You don't have the best year of his life coming out of A.J. Hawk. You don't have 5 beefy bodies up front that had rotation that were able to just get after it and be able to stymie guys at the line of scrimmage and suck up double teams and allowed Clay Matthews and company to get off the edge. You didn't have the depth of the Zombos and the Papingas and everybody in that. You don't have that same thing right now on this team. So that's why you've got a little more finesse. So if they would do it, it would be even a better coaching job, in my opinion, than what Mike McCarthy did in getting them to a Super Bowl, because Matt LaFleur, I think, talent-wise, would have a lower level of talent to work with, but maybe a deeper pool, if that makes sense. But yeah, I think the Packers could be a threat to the Philadelphia Eagles. Hell yeah. And I don't think the Packers really fear going to Philadelphia. I don't really think after what they went through last year, I don't think they care. I think if anything, they're looking at Philly going, hey, first and last game, you got us the first one. We're going to end your season with the last one. Here you go. Here you go. Bend over. Here it comes, man. That's my thought. Am I off base here? Am I just kind of rambling on via stupidity there, Grant?
No, I think right now the Eagles look like the best team in the NFC. But you can make an argument that Detroit, I don't think Detroit's out of it, even with these injuries. The way that they're coached and the way that they're wired, I think the Vikings on their best day could beat anyone. I think the Rams on their best day, if they have 2 awesome games or 3 awesome games, that team could win a Super Bowl. And we've been saying about this, the same thing with the Packers for weeks. Like the NFC, which seemed like Detroit and everyone else for 2 months there in the middle of the season, it seems like there's 4 or 5 legitimate teams that could come out and win this. And I don't think Tampa can win a Super Bowl, but Tampa could knock off any one of those teams. Tampa's beaten Philly now the last couple times they played. Tampa ended Philly's season last year. I think Philly's better this year, but I think even Tampa Bay and Baker Mayfield could ruin one of these teams' postseasons as well. So the NFC all of a sudden is actually decently deep. Like there's a solid group of contenders that can do this, in my opinion.
Cool note from Tidbit, and it's odd that you bring it up, Tidbit, over on the live stream. And by the way, hey, to all our friends in the cheap seats, we certainly appreciate you watching us and hanging out with us. Tidbit says, do you ever foresee having merchandise, hoodies, shirts, all that kind of stuff, or is that too much of a hassle? As a matter of fact, I just yesterday spoke to one of our people here, our manufacturers. Yes, we're going to have some. As a matter of fact, we plan on having it by Super Bowl. So we're going to have some quarter zips and some shirts, some polos and stuff, and then other stuff. We're going to have, I don't really want to do mugs because mugs are, they get stuck in the back of a closet. Nobody uses them. But koozies, man, I'm a koozie collector. I'll do koozies all damn day long. So some koozies and some stuffed tchotchkes for maybe the office or something. But we're going to have a very small line that comes out. And but yeah, we're going to start off with quarter zips because I love quarter zips, and we're going to have some shirts. We'll have some t-shirts. But what's really going to be cool about it is I think what we're doing is we're going to do the logo, the show logo, like on the breast here, and then on the arm is going to be the foundation logo. So and the proceeds from the sale of the shirts and all that stuff, the proceeds are then going to go to Big Unit Foundation and support veterans, military members, and their families. So that there you go. That's what we're going to do. So that's hats. Yes, Rick, we'll do some hats. I'm not a huge hat wearer, but because I got a Boston Red Sox hat, but it's got the red, white, and blue in it. And it's actually the same logo as the foundation, the same B as the foundation. So I like to wear that hat because it kind of supports what we're doing foundation wise. But yeah, we'll do that too. So if there's something, a style you like, send it to me, show it to me, email it to me, and we'll see if we can't get that style. But yeah, we're gonna do that. That way we continue to support our foundation as well. So not only are you doing stuff to support the show and show your support for Grand Bills, but also in that sense, you can show a little support for military members, veterans, family members, and first responders as well. Scott wants hoodies. Hoodies, we can do hoodies, Scott. We can do some hoodies, yeah. Kristen loves hoodies. I'm not a hoodie fan. Unless they're the cool ones. Like the University of Wisconsin, they just had one the other day I was looking at. They got a pretty cool hoodie. I can't remember what specifically it was. They got a couple of cool ones that are out. I don't like just the old traditional with a hood on the back with the pouch pocket in the front. That to me, I don't know. I don't wear that very often. But they had one that had a zip on it, and it had like a big puffy neck and then a hood on the back of it. It was really cool looking. I think it's made by Under Armour or something. I don't know. Adidas, I don't know. But our rep said they can find those. So if we can do like the cool hoodies, yeah, I'll do that in a heartbeat too. So anyway, that being said, we're going to go ahead and move on. We got coming up here in about 10 minutes. We got our buddy Paul Charch is going to join us. Charch, you know why? Because people are now in the postseason, entrenched in the postseason. And when it comes to fantasy football, so we're going to get Charch and get his comments on all this stuff.
By the way, I didn't make my fantasy football playoffs in the one big league I do with my friends every year.
Yep.
I'm eliminated, and then the next week, round one of the playoffs, I lead the league in scoring. Best week of the year. Yep.
Wow.
Dominated. My team absolutely dominated in a game where I was playing no one because my season's over. So that was great. It was nice to see everyone finally show up. That was good. Look
at you go. So I was out early. Now in the one that I'm in, my buddy Scotty, the one that I'm in with him, we're still in it. I don't know. I don't even know who we're facing this week. I think I've given my input like 3 or 4 times. I drafted the team and he's managed the team, and that's kind of the way we've kind of done it. But because he doesn't do anything other than just a regular job, so to speak, during the week. And I hate to say that, but he's a desk jockey, and he's a pencil pusher at a manufacturing plant, and he just sits there and watches fantasy football all day long. So I'm like, okay, you handle that. But I did the majority of the drafting, and he's basically played the team, and he's done a pretty good job. So, and it was one of those where it was a rather high amount to buy in, which is the reason we go in together. we'll say. So if we win, we might have another Christmas party. I'll tell you that right now. We won a couple of years ago, and that was like, that was don't wear pants to work day. I'll tell you that right now. That was fantastic. Hey, this portion of the program brought to you by our pants. Speaking of not wearing pants, well, you got to wear pants because it's a restaurant too, but you could not wear pants at Stenny's, but they throw you out because you need to wear pants because they do serve food. Nobody wants to look at that while you're sitting there eating food. Stenny's, second and National Walker's Point in Milwaukee, right there on Watertown Road in Pewaukee as well. Stenny's Lake Country. They run shuttles. They're going to be running shuttles. Yes, Monday night, taking you to the Packers game and back. They do it all the time. Let them do the driving, man. Go in there, get the award-winning Bloody Mary, the Bill Michaels garlic cheese bread, the wings, load up, jump in the bus, boom, north, Lambeau Field, see a Packers win, come back home, you listen to us on the way back, put it on your phone, put it on your app, whatever it is, watch it, download it, all that kind of stuff, and then you get back, then you go home, you're good to go. That way somebody else does the driving. That is our friends at Stenny's, second and National in Walker's Point, Milwaukee, on Watertown Road in Pewaukee. That is Stenny's Lake Country. Either way, as they say, you should be here.
Covering Wisconsin sports like a blanket. This is the Bill Michaels Show on the Wisconsin Sports Zone Radio Network.
Bill Michaels will resume in 5 minutes. Bill Michaels will resume in 4 minutes. Bill Michaels will resume in 3 minutes. Bill Michaels will resume in 2 minutes. Bill Michaels will resume in 1 minute. Bill Michaels will resume in 30 seconds.
Good to have you back. Bill Michaels Show. We went really long on the last segment. Snow's coming down. Be safe out there. We're going to coming up. We're going to talk with our buddy Paul Charchian. And Charch is going to give us the lowdown on fantasy football as you're now deep into the postseason. If you've got, if you've got some postseason needs, or maybe just you're looking for a sleeper at this point in time, you can find one. But Charch is going to tell you who to start, who not to start, all that kind of good stuff coming up. So we got a lot of stuff still happening, and we want to talk more about the Packers getting ready for Monday night. We've got all kinds of different NFL odds and ends coming up after the top of the hour. So, and by the way, the other thing, the whole Pro Bowl. We got to talk about that too. This whole Pro Bowl setup that they got going on. So we got all of that coming up. Don't go anywhere because I went really long. I apologize, but we're going to go back to break and then come back. Paul Charchian coming up next. Ready?
This is the Bill Michaels Show on the Wisconsin Sports Zone Radio Network.
Bill Michaels will resume in 3 minutes. Bill Michaels will resume in 2 minutes. Bill Michaels will resume in 1 minute. Bill Michaels will resume in 30 seconds.
Good to have you back. Snowy Thursday here in the state of Wisconsin. We got the Tiki Cam out. Snow is falling on the Tiki Bar. That's a sad sight. I don't care who you are. I don't care who you are. But there you have it. So anyway, that being said, our buddy Paul Charchian, as the semis of the postseason are fully in swing now. Charch, how you doing, pal?
Charch is just getting hooked up.
Oh, Charch is getting
He'll be
hooked
here
up?
in just a sec. Yeah, I'll let you know.
Charch
Oh,
is
there he
usually
is.
Right, Charch is usually right there. Charch, how you doing, bud? Paul Georgian.
Hold on, he's reconnecting.
Okay. I wasn't quite sure. I'm thinking, did he just get mad at me because we came a couple of minutes late? I think that's what happened. It's one of those, Festivus Thursdays. He's taking it out on us. And that's okay. That's okay. We deserve that every now and then. Charch?
All right, he should be here now.
Hi.
There
How are
he
you?
is. Charch, how you doing, bud?
Like once out of every 30 times I try to connect on the system we use, like everything blows up and I just get static. And of course, this was the time. Sorry about that.
That's okay. That's okay. We got snow going on. We've got a nice scene on the live stream right now. So we're good.
Yeah, same. Hey, are you working next Thursday or is this our last chat of the year?
No, we're not working next Thursday. We'll be here next Thursday.
You're not?
Yes.
You will be. All right,
Yes.
good. All right, we'll
Yep.
talk next Thursday.
Yep. Thursday
All
is
right.
going to be our last one. So, unfortunately or fortunately, depending on how you look at it. So, hey, the biggest question right now is: should they sit him or should he play? And it's Patrick Mahomes, and he's going to play. Come on, right?
Yeah, he's going to play for sure. But I don't like him for fantasy. He's my quarterback 20 this week. Let's talk it through. He's got this bad ankle, high ankle sprain. I worry about Mahomes' trademark ability to extend plays. The escapability. He's so deadly is when he breaks pocket and he's running laterally and then he's delivering downfield. And if he can't do that, that worries me. And the other part of it is this team's just churning through left tackles. TJ Humphries, he's the presumed starter, but he's hurt. Joe Tooney, and they are going up against Will Anderson and Danielle Hunter,
Right.
arguably the best edge rushers in the NFL.
Don't those two between have 26 sacks?
That sounds right. I think Hunter's at 12 and Will's at 10. I don't know. So maybe you're right. I don't know. Something like that.
Yeah.
And so, I really worry. No escapability. You've got Danielle Hunter, Will Anderson. Yeah, I think there's real trouble here. The two tackles, Humphries and Tooney, the last 2 weeks, just have been dominated. They've given up 15 quarterback pressures just in the 2 games. So I see a lot of quick, rushed passes coming from Patrick Mahomes that don't end up equaling fantasy points.
I'm going to ask, because you had a long history with this guy, but Kirk Cousins gets benched. Here comes Michael Penix Jr.
Yeah.
First of all, were you surprised that Kirk got benched?
No, because the play had been so bad for a month. It was just, the arm's dead. There's nothing left in the arm. And, I did not think that the Achilles would take so much velocity out of his arm, but he doesn't plant right. And the other part I don't like, I'm going to spend a lot of time on this, but they play him out of shotgun all the time. And that's just, he's never been a shotgun quarterback. I don't think the Falcons have used him very well either, but he deserved the benching. Michael Penix comes in now, and what he does, at University of Washington, he delivered accurate downfield, aggressive, deep passing, and the Falcons need that desperately. They're clinging to playoff hope. I think they're going to throw downfield in this one, and I actually like the prospects of Drake London and Darnell Mooney more with Penix, even in his first start, than what we were getting out of Kirk Cousins. So I've nudged those guys up a little bit. And what we've seen, first-round quarterbacks in their first ever start over the last 5 years are actually performing pretty well.
Mm-hmm.
And so I think you got an opportunity here. I wouldn't start Penix, but I do like his receivers. Well, not Kyle Pitts, because he does not count. We like players who actually care, care about the game of football and are committed to winning. That's not Kyle Pitts. But yeah, I think Mooney and Drake London, startable.
Cleveland has an interesting scenario because their quarterback, Dorian Thompson-Robinson, you could have fantasy, what do you would call it? Fantasy up and down, so to speak, as the effect of him starting and playing. You know what I mean?
Yeah, a high level of variability here, in part because the Bengals, the opponent, are objectively the worst defense in the league right now, but more on that in a second. What we've seen of Dorian Thompson-Robinson to this point is horrible. He's thrown 146 NFL passes, which is not a tiny sample size. He has 1 touchdown against 7 interceptions. And since coming into the league 2 years ago, of the 62 quarterbacks to throw at least 100 passes, Dorian Thompson-Robinson ranks 62nd in passer rating, dead last. His passer rating is 42. So it's the Bengals. They're awful, and especially against the pass, but I think Robinson's just brutal, and I can't put we're in the semifinals. I can't put my prospects into the hands of Dorian Thompson-Robinson.
A couple of things, because I know we got a little bit late today, but I look at this. First of all, you got a great game coming up tonight. I'm excited for it. But you got games all weekend. So you got the Thursday, a couple Thursdays ago, Jaden Reed, 0 catches. Last Thursday, Cooper Kupp, 0 catches. And then all of a sudden now you've got guys that they say, oh, we missed them, so now we got to go back to them. So when a guy is up and down like that, how reliable do you feel as far as giving him a ranking when it comes to fantasy?
Well, the question I'm getting all week is about Ladd McConkey playing tonight for the Chargers. This is he's such a pivotal part to their offense, and he's going up against the Broncos, a very good defense led by Patrick Surtain, and Surtain's great. And so, like McConkey's been great too, by the way. Over the last 4 games, he's averaging 7 catches, 95 yards a game. He's been terrific. Here's the thing you need to know about McConkey. He runs from the slot almost entirely. Patrick Surtain, this is the one area he never goes to. 6% of his plays are from the slot. That's it. So McConkey will avoid Patrick Surtain. Denver's slot cornerback is Jaquan McMillan. Not great, allowing 72% catch rate and 45 yards per game in his coverage. That is a winnable matchup for Ladd McConkey. So I don't think we're going to go 0 catch Jaden Reed, 0 catch Cooper Kupp, 0 catch Ladd McConkey, because he runs from the slot and he doesn't have to see Patrick Surtain.
The run game for the Chargers coming up tonight, because I think, first of all, Bo Nix has done a fantastic job, and certainly Sean Payton for everything he did last year and the way he was outspoken and took a lot of heat. This year has just turned it around and been amazing. But, Harbaugh was a guy that was going to come in. They were going to run the ball. They relied on Justin Herbert and the wide receivers a lot this season. They're still a good team. They're just not to that level yet, and I think you give Harbaugh another year and they'll be there. But no run game really there right now.
Right, and this was supposed to be a power running game.
Mm-hmm.
That's what Jim Harbaugh does, bring in Greg Roman as your offensive coordinator, and they're objectively terrible since J.K. Dobbins went down. When he went down, he was a candidate for comeback player of the year. Now your Chargers starting running back, Gus Edwards, brutal, averaging 3.4 yards per carry. Here we are, an NFL starting running back on a team that wants to run the ball. Gus Edwards hasn't topped 36 yards in 5 straight games. And here's Denver. They haven't allowed a rushing touchdown in 5 games. Well, thanks to Jonathan Taylor throwing away a touchdown last week. And so it's a brutal matchup. Can't start Gus Edwards in your fantasy semifinal.
I did get a question, and they wanted to know your thoughts on running Derrick Henry this week. How good is Derrick Henry against his Pittsburgh Steelers defense? And remember, TJ Watt's got a banged up ankle.
I love him this week. Here's why. He's coming off a big game of rest. He only had, I believe, 14 carries last week because Baltimore got way ahead, and they subbed him out, and then they let Justice Hill go run. So here's what's happened after Derrick Henry's come off rest games this year. Week 5, he had 15 carries. The next week, 24. Week 8, he had 11 carries. The next week, 23 carries. Week 11, he had 13 carries. Next week, 24 carries. So coming off a 14, I believe, carry game last week, I think he's primed for a big, heavy workload here, and I love Derrick Henry this week.
We saw A.J. Brown complain about targets, and all of a sudden he was basically the focus of the Eagles. Now the Eagles have the Washington Commanders this weekend. What does A.J. Brown all of a sudden do to the Commanders?
Well, let's and Squeaky Wheel got the grease. And for star players, it usually does go that way. But fantasy players know all too well, A.J. Brown was just totally scattershot all year. And mostly, though, it's not because A.J. Brown's not good. It's because the Eagles just don't pass. They've got the league's lowest passing play percentage, just 44%. And here's the other weird thing about A.J. Brown that's really hurt his fantasy value. Despite his big frame And a guy who at the stripe, he could take 3 strides forward, just box out a defender and get easy touchdowns. He has 0 targets from inside the 5-yard line this year. They never give him the easy touchdowns from inside the 5. Now, this week, he's got Washington, a fascinating matchup with Marshawn Lattimore, who came back last week. He didn't even get thrown at last week. Lattimore is one of the biggest, most physical corners in the league, and he gets to go up against A.J. Brown, one of the biggest, most physical receivers in the league. So that's going to be a great matchup here. I've got A.J. Brown as wide receiver 16, still going to start him, but I don't think the squeaky wheel thing, I don't think that continues another week here.
And last question, then I'm going to let you go. Baker Mayfield or Sam Darnold this weekend?
I love Baker Mayfield in this one, and it's nice that he's Jalen McMillan has emerged as a quality target for Baker, and that's really helped him a lot. Mike Evans, obviously great, and they're trying to power Mike Evans to his 11th consecutive 1,000-yard season, and they're just pounding balls into him, and I love it. It's fantastic. So Baker's been great for most of this year. He's been just set it and forget it kind of guy. And I believe that they're still on that trajectory here. I've got Baker Mayfield at quarterback 7 this week.
Are you here for Christmas or daughter coming home for Christmas?
Daughter en route right now through the snow. She'll roughly be in Madison at this time. Okay. My wife's driving her back home right now and just trying to hope that we get clear sailing on I-94.
Hug Roxy, your daughter, everybody. Have a great holiday, and then we'll talk again next week, my friend.
We'll talk after Christmas.
Have
a great holiday, and I look forward to it. Bye-bye.
You too, pal. There you go. That's the great Paul Charchian. That man knows so much. Always good. Let's do this. We'll step out. We'll take a quick break. Got 3 more hours yet to go. Don't go anywhere. More of the Bill Michaels Show on this snowy Thursday coming up next.
This is a Wisconsin Sports Zone update.
Well, the Packers had an off day yesterday. They're back in the practice field today to prep for their matchup on Monday night against the Saints. Now, they could go into the game having clinched the berth into the playoffs, depending on how some of the games go on Sunday. No matter what, though, a win over the Saints will put them into the playoffs for a second straight year and 5 out of the last 6 times for head coach Matt LaFleur. LaFleur says, though, he's not focused on the playoffs just yet.
I'm worried about us continuing to get better, staying in the moment, focusing on what's right in front of us. And it's by attacking our practices the right way and just building our habits. And it's all about how we improve throughout this process, and whatever happens.
One injury to watch for Monday night will be Quay Walker's ankle. He is listed as week to week. Turning to Wisconsin, the transfer portal continues to give and take away. Leaving would be Anelu Lafiele. The freshman edge rusher was a Hawaii native as a 4-star signee for the Badgers class in 2024. And coming to the Badgers from Western Carolina would be linebacker Antaron Turner. He has 2 years of eligibility and last year had 61 tackles, 6.5 tackles for loss, and 3 sacks.
ABC of Wisconsin is the largest apprenticeship program in the state, with more than 2,000 active apprentices in 12 different skilled trades. In the ABC apprenticeship program, you earn while you learn on the job, get paid to go to class, and graduate with a job in your craft, but without the huge college debt. Explore 12 different construction trades in one spot at buildyourcareerwi.org, or just search online for ABC of Wisconsin.
Fresh off winning the NBA's Cup, the Milwaukee Bucks still have off tonight. They're back in action tomorrow when they head to Cleveland to take on the Cavaliers. The Deer currently sit 11-14 on the year. That's good for 5th in the East. And finally, Wisconsin basketball's next game will be Sunday against Detroit Mercy. For the Wisconsin Sports Zone Network, I'm Ebo.
Throw on the singlet. Get ready to grapple. It's a great white death. Gonna throw you to the ground. Don't get pinned. I'm kidding. It's gonna be about 3 to 4 inches. Who cares? Smoke them if you got them. Yesterday, spent the day kind of picking up some things around the house and taking it easy. Had the huddle last night, which was great. We had a really fun time last night. Great talking to Mike Clemens for half an hour, just about all kinds of different stuff. And then yesterday, because I had my snowblower's carburetor rebuilt in the off season during the summer. And so yesterday I thought, I'm gonna give it a shot just to see, which means I'm not gonna get much snow. Usually when I get all prepared, nothing happens. So I went down there yesterday and I turned on the key. I gave it the 3 pumps of the carburetor to kind of prime the pump, so to speak. And I pulled and that thing fired right up. Ran smooth, quiet. I mean, as quiet as snowblowers can run. And I'm thinking, God, this is perfect. I'm not going to get any snow. The only time I'm going to get snow is probably when we're out of town, when we're at Super Bowl. That's it. That's when it'll snow like crazy. I won't be here to use it. I'll have to call the guy to plow the driveway because the people that are staying in my house are going to need to get in and out of the place. But that'll be it. And nothing's going to happen. And that'll be the only time I use my snowblower this year is when I start it up just in case. And that'll be it. So hopefully there's a little bit of snow that falls. I'm looking forward to it. It's not going to stick around. Grant, did you see? And again, where's our guy Luke Sampe? That's what I need to know. Luke Sampe's got to hit us up because I was calling for him yesterday. Where is what's the weather forecast for Monday night? I heard there's going to be snow.
So it's funny. I texted Luke yesterday, and I've also been texting with Kevin Holden. You don't believe this. Every single guest that we have, including Ebo, you this week, me last week, has gotten sick. Like we got Jesse standing by too. Jesse was sick earlier this week. He's got a house full of sick kids too. So I will text Luke. If he's the one who's not sick, shockingly, I will try to get him on later on in the show. Yeah. We'll see.
Everybody's sick. I know Kristen just was telling me her son is sick. And I mean, everybody I know right now is coming down with creep and crud. Jesse Temple talking some Badgers with it. Jesse, I would imagine if you were doing this back in the old days with a pencil, your eraser would be gone at this point with everything that's coming in and out of the portal. Correct me if I'm wrong.
That is correct. Not so long ago, I would do a postseason depth chart projecting what spring would look like, and now I would be foolish to do so because they've lost 20 scholarship players to the portal, and they've got 11 coming in, and they're not done yet. So I suppose you could say it's the gift that keeps on giving, but it's just a wild, wild west out there.
Okay, this is the question I got yesterday, and I said, you know what? Jesse's coming on today. I'm going to ask Jesse this. A friend of mine who's a huge college football fan, but he's out on the East Coast. And he said, tell me, with everything in and out of Wisconsin, did they get better or did they get worse? He can't tell.
Hard to take stock of it fully yet. They're still working on getting some defensive backs at the very least right now. That seems to be the most significant position that's left. They've lost a handful of guys that were key contributors. I think most notably Will Pauling is in the portal. CJ Williams went on the same day that he did. Now, 2 years ago, Pauling had an exceptional season. He caught 74 passes. And the jury's still out because on paper, some of these pickups look very good. They have their 2 quarterbacks that they wanted, including Billy Edwards Jr. Is he an upgrade from Tyler Van Dyke? Hard to say. They got a wide receiver who just spent 4 years at Ohio State. On the other hand, he only caught 11 passes in his 4 years there. So right now, I don't know, and that's the best answer that I can give, but hopefully spring practice will provide a little bit more clarity on whether these guys will be instant impact guys.
So the quarterback position we always talk about first and foremost, is the quarterback position now deep and better, do you think?
Well, I wouldn't say it's deep. As of now, they've got 4 scholarship quarterbacks. I mentioned Billy Edwards Jr. He's got 1 year of eligibility left, was a starter at Maryland this past season. Then they brought in Danny O'Neal, who has 3 years of eligibility left and actually was a true freshman starter at San Diego State. So it seems like maybe they're looking at him as potentially the quarterback of the future. But they have 2 other young guys that I think make this really interesting for the future. So not only do they have O'Neal with 3 years left, but Maven Matire's still here. He's the only guy that was on the roster a year ago that is still in the room among the scholarship guys. He's got 4 years left, and they're bringing in Carter Smith, who was a top 15 4-star quarterback. So I really like the talent in the room, but right now, I don't know if it's markedly better in terms of who's ready for next season.
I'm fascinated by all of this, and I shouldn't be, because I think that what's gone on with the portal is the fruit of the evil. But that being said, I still find it fascinating about all of these different recruits, high-end recruits, that if they don't play and they don't get the recognition they feel they deserve right away, man, they are bailing in a heartbeat, aren't they?
Yeah, I just wrote about this a couple weeks ago, and it was in reference to Wisconsin's 2023 recruiting class, which was Luke Fickell's first, and granted, it was a transitional class because a lot of those guys committed under Paul Chryst, but there were 15 signees on scholarship in that class, and right now there are only 5 left. It was down to 4, but Tretch Kekahuda entered the portal and then withdrew and came back to Wisconsin, but I had a chance to talk to 5 of the people that left, And it really does speak to what you're talking about, Bill. In this culture that we're in, if you don't play within 2 years and you don't necessarily see the path forward in year 3, you are out of here. It's not just unique to Wisconsin. This is happening across the board. But more and more guys who aren't playing right away are more apt to leave and try and find a new place.
So one of the things, and I know that you were a part of a conversation with Luke Fickell, how they got passed up for the Independence Bowl. And not being in a bowl, I mean, everybody talked about the streak and it ended, and, you know, I understand all of that. But sometimes you got to trim the tree down to the trunk and then let the branches grow all over again. I'm hoping that's what is the foreshadowing of what's yet to come under the Luke Fickell era in Wisconsin football. But give me your thoughts about what Luke Fickell had to say as to why things went the way they did.
Well, we haven't talked to Luke since signing day. So the bowl stuff happened afterward. I mean, I think it ended up being Louisiana Tech in the Independence Bowl. Now they are in Louisiana. The game was in Shreveport. And I think that a lot of teams were in a spot where everybody was gone. I mean, you had guys in Hawaii, or like nobody was here. So it'd be very hard to put together a team and actually play, especially with all these guys going to the portal. But in terms of where they're at, I mean, it's been a lot of change even since the end of the regular season. They've hired Jeff Grimes, who's now the offensive coordinator. He came from Kansas. They still have to hire a quarterback coach. They now have to hire a safeties coach because Alex French left to become the defensive coordinator at UCF for Scott Frost. And obviously I mentioned all this portal stuff. They're still getting more guys. So it's going to be a lot different look to this team the next time we see them in spring practice. And Luke just has to hope that the changes they're making will help move the program forward in what's going to be an extraordinarily difficult schedule in 2025.
Let me step back a second, because we talk a lot about what Luke says and about the coaching staff and all the movement and shakeup and everything that's gone on. And we talk about portals and such. Give me your thoughts for the guys that are there. What is, you know, you're in there. What is the pulse right now of this group? Is it like, hey, we're down? Is it, you know, hey, we are trending in the right direction, stick with us? I mean, you don't hear like finger pointing or dissension or guys talking about coaches. You've heard guys that have left the program that have kind of mentioned things, but give me your thoughts on inside the walls out there at Camp Randall.
It depends on who you talk to and when you talk to them. Generally speaking, I think these guys have offered a pretty positive public front, especially in their support of Luke Fickell. Now, guys who are leaving for a reason, but they're not happy with the way things went. And even a lot of those people, and I go back to the guys who left in the 2023 class, feel good about the leader that Luke Fickell is. But there's still frustration. I think of Jake Chaney after they lost the Oregon game. They still had 2 games left in the regular season, and he was saying, I never won a big game here. And it was like, well, you still have 2 games left, but that was kind of the sentiment. But it's strange because a lot of the people that were under Paul Chryst are now moving on. If they left in year 1, they obviously weren't here. But if they were here last year, maybe they've used up their eligibility. So more and more, these are the people that Luke Fickell brought in and recruited. And so maybe those guys have a little bit more optimism because they haven't been weathered by all the lack of success. But I think it's been very difficult just because people came to Wisconsin to compete for championships. It's the thing that Chris McIntosh has said consistently, and they're nowhere near that level.
With the shuffling of the coaching staff, is that rearranging deck chairs on the Titanic, or is that now because you're putting in new systems and new coaches and new philosophies, does this then buy you additional time because it's going to take the guys that are there, again, they're starting over, needing more time to absorb everything that's being changed?
Well, I wouldn't say this buys Luke Fickell additional time. I think his contract certainly helps to buy him some time, and it's only going to be year 3. I think most people agree you should get at least 4 years to see if you can get all your people in there and they can improve by the time they're upperclassmen. But he can't be wrong about his offensive coordinator hire for a second time. So to me, that's the thing that is like the greatest area of change. They're bringing Jeff Grimes here to kind of restore some of the things Wisconsin did in the past, be more physical in the run game, use some heavier personnel packages, but still take some of the things they were successful in with the passing game. It's not like they're just going to be what we used to see of Wisconsin, where it's old school 13 personnel every down under center. They're still going to be out of the shotgun, but that's the thing that I'm looking at most. With the other ones, it's hard to say. Again, they haven't had a separate quarterbacks coach from the offensive coordinator under Fickell because Phil Longo handled both of those roles. So now that's going to be separate. In terms of who the safeties coach is, I don't know if that's as big of a deal. But obviously, we've seen a lot of change. Even last year, they had 4 new assistant coaches. So this is just kind of a consistent theme with where we're at in college football.
I completely get it. It's just there's so much shuffling going on. I look at it more as if I'm a really good head coach, I'm a really good organizer. It's not necessarily motivator of men. It's a good organizer and being able to bring talent in and get them organized early enough to be able to be ahead of the game by the time we hit the field coming up in October and September and even August for that matter. But I wonder, do you question the ability of Luke Fickell to do that? Because, I mean, like you said, I mean, the contract is, put it this way, if he had a 4-year contract, I don't know if he would have survived this year. I mean, I would have given it to him, but I don't know if the mass is screaming and yelling at Chris McIntosh at this point. I don't know if he would survive this year, but because he's got the big contract, it buys him more time. So my question is, does he have that ability to rearrange everything, bring new guys in, shuffle old guys out, get rid of coaches, bring in new coordinators, bring in different guys to help with specific positions, and then say, oh, by the way, here we go, we're going to hit the ground running because we need signature wins for a very tough schedule coming up in 2025?
Well, I'm not going to fully defend him and say that definitively the answer is yes, because all I had to go on in my role as covering Wisconsin is what's happened these first 2 years, and it has been wholly underwhelming. Now, if you go back further, obviously he had tremendous success at Cincinnati, did something no Group of 5 program had ever done in the 14 college football playoff era. I think the difference is you're basing what he's done now at Wisconsin in 2 years. And so this year is going to tell us an awful lot. Okay, if you want to say you get a mulligan for not being right in your offensive coordinator hire the first time, again, you have to be right this time. I just think it makes it more difficult when you have this type of schedule that even if you are a better program in some areas, you have to go show it and win against some of the best teams in the country in your schedule. But that is part of the role now as a head coach, is how do you delegate authority, because there are more things on your plate now than ever before.
What is the length of the portal?
So this portal window started December 9th. It goes to December 28th. But that doesn't mean that you can't add players after that. You just have to be in the portal at that time. So there have been instances where for a few days after that, you're still getting guys because the next semester doesn't start in the middle of January. But that's the window officially, is December 9th to the 28th.
Now, I know there was some talk about the NCAA cracking down on teams that are still going after guys that have already committed to other teams. Has there been more on that, or am I missing something there?
Not that I'm aware. I mean, you're really fair game until you show up on campus, as far as I know. I know there's fine people, but I've seen before stuff changes. So especially now with agents involved and everything else that happens, it's been the Wild West. It doesn't really feel like that's changing.
I was going to say, does that change anytime soon? I mean, is the NCAA looking into anything that they can then legally do that said, look, we have to figure out a way to stop this? Because, and I understand where coaches are at, because you got to re-recruit your guys every damn day now, and you're putting a lot of effort into that and still trying to find other guys to come into your program. It seems like it's just anybody that's unhappy is just going to leave. So which I think is blatantly unfair. But then again, the coaches leave at will too if they get bought out of their contract. So I don't know how they can hypocritically do it out of both sides of their face. But is there going to be eventually something that the NCAA is going to try in years to come?
I don't know if the NCAA has much jurisdiction over anything anymore. I mean, now that they've got this unlimited transfer portal rule in general, the horse is kind of out of the barn there. But I think the hope is that there will be some type of shift here where guys aren't leaving every 6 months. And I know that the talk has been, well, they can sign contracts and all that, but I would wonder, what does that contract even look like? I don't think you can make someone sign a 2-year contract. And so I just think that this is where we're at right now. To some, it's deplorable.
Right.
And to others, it's exciting and interesting. And maybe I fall somewhere in the middle, but this is just kind of what college football is. It's crazier than NFL free agency. I know that.
Yeah, it really is. And it's a shame that it's kind of eroded to this, and that there's no way that the NCAA could have foresaw this coming in their own greed and putting their arms around the pile of cash and saying, we got ours, you go get yours, and to hell with you. And now it's basically just mayhem. Jesse, I hope the kids feel better real soon. You can have a great holiday, and we'll talk again next week, okay?
Thanks, Bill. Talk soon.
Thanks, pal. There you go. That's Jesse Temple. He is doing double duty. Dad time because the kids are sick. Nobody's feeling good right now. I get it. The creeping crud's going around, and it is the wild, wild west right now in college football recruiting and the transfer portal and such. And man, it's a shame that it's eroded to that. It really is. I mean, people ask all the time. Look, I'm not nearly as astute in that area as I could be, should be, or want to be perfectly honest with you. So that's why I love when we get Jesse on, we can talk a little bit about it, because it's not necessarily the individuals that are coming in. It's the philosophical questions and the big picture that people are starting to look at, saying, this is nuts. So we can, you want to get a star, but then you don't want to have a star that says, "Hey, I'm coming," only to have somebody else offering him a little more money the day before he gets here, and he ends up going somewhere else. You'd like to feel secure that you're done recruiting, so you can move on to the next guy. And it's just crazy what's going on. So and it's really kind of, to be honest with you, it's a shame as to what's going on. 877-867-1670. If you want to find us, please feel free to go ahead and do so. Got the snow falling outside. That's okay. We're warm and toasty inside. If you're outside doing work today, be careful out there, without a doubt. If you're doing some Christmas shopping still, hey, I suggest stopping down to our friends at Sobelman's in Milwaukee. Maybe you're heading out for a game. Maybe you're going to be there tomorrow night because last night you had Butler and Marquette. Maybe tomorrow night you're heading out for the Bucks. Bucks are going to be playing Cleveland back at the Fiserv Forum tomorrow night. Or you're out and about in the Waukesha area. You're supporting small local businesses, and you're trying to support them as well. Do the same thing. Head into our friends over there at Sobelman's. Sobelman's Pub and Grill, the giant big feast within itself. Bloody Marys are the good burgers and fries that they have. Sobelman's got something for everybody. Just go in there, relax, enjoy yourself, take a load off. That is Sobelman's Pub and Grill. Let's catch up.
Meet at Sobelman's,
Milwaukee and Waukesha. This is the Bill Michaels Show on the Wisconsin Sports Zone Radio Network.
Ho, 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 my back.
Santa?
Ho, 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 Gina Della from Pella. You've been a good girl this year.
Is that why you're in here building new windows?
Yes. Next year, how about just asking for a Pella gift card? My elves are used to designing windows from other places where they're all pretty much the same. But Pella? Ho, 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 so many customizations and designs. My elves aren't qualified, so Santa has to put in some overtime. Ho,
Let me make a call. BRB.
Frighteningly fast pellet team at your service. Let us take it from here, Mr. Claus. And Gina, next time.
Yeah, I know. Santa already lectured me. Ask for a Pella gift card.
What if you need new windows or doors, but you're on the naughty list?
Right now at Pella Windows and Doors of Wisconsin, get as low as $19 per window and $81 per patio door per month.
Ho, ho, ho. Visit the Pella site, and to all a good night.
PellaWI.com. Certain restrictions apply and 12/31/2024.
Get ready for the moment we've all been waiting for. It's the 300K season finale giveaway at Potawatomi. Friday, December 20th. Watch your entries from Bird Bash, Cash Clash, and Winter's Dash. All pile into one massive drawing for a chance at up to 50 grand cash. Be there to win your share. December 20th, only at Potawatomi Casino Hotel, Milwaukee. Learn more at paysbig.com/finale. Must be 21 years old to play.
Bill Michaels will resume in 3 minutes. Bill Michaels will resume in 2 minutes. Bill Michaels will resume in 1 minute. Bill Michaels will resume in 30 seconds.
Welcome back. Beginning to look a lot like Christmas. Bill Michaels Show on this Thursday edition. Talking some Packers football and around the rest of the NFL coming up here momentarily. ESOR Realty. Just wanted to wish everybody a very happy holiday season. Ben Jarvis, 24 years in the military. He owns ESOR Realty Group, and it stands for Excellent Service Equaling Outstanding Results. Just recently awarded the Positively Milwaukee Award here in this area. For the outstanding work that he does, not only with his realty company, but also in supporting suicide veterans against suicide and such. Just does so much in the community. Great people, great place, but nevertheless, they take that same attention to detail and they manufacture that into a relationship with you when you're looking to either buy or sell a home, a condo specifically, rental properties, whatever it is you're looking for. Especially going into 2025, give Ben a call, 414, anywhere in the state of Wisconsin, 414-721-6233, 414-721-6233, or go to esorgroup.com. That's esorgroup.com. And they just want to say thank you for an incredible 2024. They really had a good year this year. Even in a down economy, they had a good year this year. 877-867-1670. The snow continues to fly outside via Tiki Cam. So for those that are watching that, I'm glad you enjoyed that. There's a couple people that said they really like Tiki Cam today, even though the snow is flying upon it.
It is kind of nice, although maybe those people are just finding a nice way to say they don't want to look at you the whole time.
That could be too. I don't blame them.
It's 4 hours is a long time to look at one person.
I wouldn't mind that, yeah. But we just keep adding things here in the studio too. I find new things every day that I keep finding, like there's new cameras, and the new cameras are actually smaller than the old ones with higher resolution and better color monitoring. And then we used to do things with the old tripods, and now they've got these things that like tie to your tables, and they're like 30-40 inches where you can bend them in certain directions and you can move them around, and it's cool stuff. It's stuff that we're going to be taking to a Super Bowl with us this year, and it's lighter, which means our carry kit's going to be lighter, and I don't have to worry about, the 50 pounds and 1 ounce over. So I have to end up paying for that. So, all these things are starting to arrive at the house. And I'm trying to buy everything now for this business year to wrap up the 2024 season for the business. But yeah, so we got new stuff. So we've got, I think, 4 camera angles in here now. So, let's see here. Oh, we've been, by the way, I mentioned earlier that we're going to, whatever you're looking for, in the manufacturing of tchotchke stuff for the program, people are flooding, like emailing thebillmichaels@gmail.com. You can continue to email me, but man, it has been a lot. I got one from Scott who said, you got to go with the quarter zips, go with lightweight. Another one that said, go with the quarter zips, go with heavy with fleece line for this time of year. We would love to wear them. I got one from a girl named Ellie. Ellie said that, are you going to have female versions of this as well? And then she said, are you going to use any models? I have no idea. The worst thing in the world to look at is say, hey, we've got something for women, and just lay it on a table. So I have no idea. I don't know. Maybe we'll ship some freebies out to people that are good looking in our material or something. Because, Grant and I aren't going to model anything. That's for damn sure. So who knows? What else do we have here for you? This one's from Kent. Kent says, the team that needs to win in the AFC the most is who? Kansas City's going for a three-peat. Philadelphia is trying to shake off the rust from last year. Pittsburgh's trying to prove that they can get it done. who do you think needs to win in the AFC the most? And what about Lamar Jackson? That's a loaded question right there, man. Who needs to win the most? The most? That's a really good question. I never thought of it as who needs to win the most. Because everybody does, Everybody does. I mean, if you really, let's be honest, who needs to win the most? Buffalo went 4 straight years, never won a Super Bowl. So Buffalo, it would be my first thought. Pittsburgh's won a couple or been there twice under Mike Tomlin, won one, lost one. Lamar Jackson needs to, he's been great in the regular season, and his biggest knock is he can't win in the postseason. So maybe it's Lamar. But Kansas City doesn't need to win the most. Kansas City's won back-to-back. If you're really talking about needing to win, if that's the key word that I'm focusing on, because if they say have the most desire or the most at stake, yeah, because now you're looking at doing something that's never been done in the modern Super Bowl era. So they want to be the first to do it. Otherwise you lose this year, then you got to start over. And that's a tall task, man. Not to say they couldn't do it, but that's a tall task. But needing to win, if I'd have to take 2 teams that need to win it the most, I'd put Buffalo and Baltimore. Buffalo as a team, as a franchise, and then Baltimore for Lamar Jackson. Need to win the most.
I'm just hearing so much Josh Allen, and I think it's fair. So many people are like, yeah, Mahomes is the best, and he wins, and he's Brady. But I've heard a lot of people over the last week or two say, is Josh Allen not the most talented guy in the league? Like, he is unbelievable. Mm-hmm. And I think every year that he's on the Bills, where they don't go on a deep playoff run or win a Super Bowl, I think it's a failure. Just because he's so unbelievable and he can run so well and he's in his athletic prime.
Right.
And not to say that he won't be able to do that for a long time, but you just never know, right? How long can you play that physically and maintain at this high of a level? Plus, the running game is awesome and they look great this year. So I'd say the Bills, but I think the Baltimore Ravens, that's another good answer, just because much of the same with Lamar. Yeah. Like, how long are you going to be this great and come up short in the playoffs?
On those two sides, you can argue both. So, and Josh Allen's not been able to break down that wall either. So if he does win the MVP this year, does he have the ability to take that team then to the next level and put them into a Super Bowl? So either one of those answers, you can't be wrong. There's no wrong answer in that particular sense. When you say that the word need, that's where it becomes a defining line for me. So because, you're back to back with Kansas City. So take Kansas City out of the mix. Unless, of course, you put the importance on the three-peat, but that's not a need, that's a want. And then you kind of transfer that over to the NFC. Who needs to win?
Well, you'd say the Lions, they'd be the top answer if they were healthy.
If they were healthy.
Same with the Niners, too. I think if they were healthy in their best form, you'd say, the clock's ticking on that team, too.
But even in that sense, you look at the Lions went last year, and they got beat. They had an opportunity to win that game. And they got beat. So,
and they for the most part, they have both coordinators back. Like, I just don't know how long that this nucleus is going to stick together. Right. And maybe they replace it with other great coordinators. I don't know. But for this group right here, like, man, they would be at the top of the list if they weren't so darn banged up on defense.
If I had to say a team that needs to win, I would probably say the Vikings. The Vikings need to win. This is a franchise that doesn't even sniff it, So, if there's a franchise that needs to win now, they have not been the front runner all year, though. So this was supposed to be a year of transition. So I don't know that their desperation of need to win is as high as, say, the Lions, because the Lions are coming off of a NFC Championship game last year in which they were one play away. So the Lions were poised, man, and had this not been this just decimation of injuries, I think if you're a Lions fan, you still have hope, but you're going, with every injury, you're just putting your head in your hands and going, it's not going to be our year. This injury bug has bit us. And all you can do now is start to hope that they can go deep, learn from whatever it is that happens, still carry hope as a fan that they continue to win, but you understand going in, it's kind of like saying, hey, you've got 7 lanes in a pool and you're supposed to be the best swimmer in the pool, but we're going to tie a hand behind your back and you're going to have to swim with everybody else. I just don't know if you can do that. And that's what's going on with Minnesota, or with the Detroit Lions right now.
I think Minnesota is an interesting one. They in a way remind me of maybe the 2018 Brewers. Very abstract. It's crossing sports, obviously, but you're like, man, we didn't expect to be here. But now that we look around, kind of understand why we're here. Look at all the great players. And we have Justin Jefferson, Christian Yelich, this MVP level player in their prime. And you'd like to think you'll be back. You'd like to think that this is just the beginning, but you just never know. I mean, for God's sake, what are they, 12-2?
Yeah.
Like at some point, it's not we're not supposed to be here. At some point, it's like we have an opportunity and you need to take advantage of it.
Yeah. Yeah. I think the key word there is the need to win. And if I'd have to say need to win, the 3 or 4 teams on both sides, I'd say, obviously, what we talked about with Buffalo and Lamar Jackson. And then on the NFC side, I think the need to win at this point would probably be, Detroit and Minnesota. The Packers have been there and done that in the last, 15 years. But you could even throw the Packers into the mix because they were close last year and they need to take that next step. They need to, kind of advance it at least to an NFC championship game to feel good about you, because especially for the fact that you're one of the least injured teams there is. Out of all the injuries, out of all the things where teams have lost players and lost games because of player injuries this season, the Packers are one of the least banged up. So really, you're the prime candidate to take that next step. And you could even say Philadelphia to a certain extent after what they did last year, having, a 10-1 record and then watching that thing completely implode. You could say they need to get there, but Philadelphia was there a couple of years ago and they had an opportunity to win that Super Bowl. And had it not been for a strip sack on Jalen Hurts and him fumbling the football away, they might have won that game. So the need to win versus who, has that want to, I think is probably the defining line. 877-867-1670, 877-867-1670. You want to hit us up, feel free to go ahead and do so. We'd love to hear from you. This portion of the program brought to you by our friends at Pella Windows and Doors of Wisconsin. Whether it's the security of Pella Windows and Doors keeping you safe on the inside, or it's keeping on the elements on the outside. Whatever it happens to be, whatever your need, whatever your want is, whatever your peace of mind is, that's our friends at Pella Windows and Doors of Wisconsin, and all the different lines to fit your budget, whether it's the vinyl, the Impervia, or the custom-made windows, the wood windows. They've got something for everybody with innovation and interior design, curb appeal, so many things that go along with it, but more so than anything, the economical factor for you and your family. That is our friends at Pella Windows and Doors of Wisconsin. Go to PellaWI.com or just call them and find a showroom near you. Call them 855-PELLA-WI. Do what I did. That is 855-PELLA-WI. I love my Pella Windows and Doors right here in my own home that have made the biggest room, the great room in my house, the most safe, the most secure, and the most economical, right? Because it wasn't for a long, long time. And then I had that big Pella Windows and Doors, the 2 big patio doors put in. And my God, I've never regretted it one single day. Go to PellaWI.com or call them 855-PELLA-WI.
Covering Wisconsin sports like a blanket. This is the Bill Michaels Show on the Wisconsin Sports Zone Radio Network.
Ho, 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 my back.
Santa?
Ho, 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 Gina Della from Pella. You've been a good girl this year.
Is that why you're in here building new windows?
Yes. Next year, how about just asking for a Pella gift card? My elves are used to designing windows from other places where they're all pretty much the same. But Pella? Ho, ho, ho. So many customizations and designs. My elves aren't qualified, so Santa has to put in some overtime. Ho,
Let me make a call. BRB.
Frighteningly fast pellet team at your service. Let us take it from here, Mr. Claus. And Gina, next time.
Yeah, I know. Santa already lectured me. Ask for a Pella gift card.
What if you need new windows or doors, but you're on the naughty list?
Right now at Pella Windows and Doors of Wisconsin, get as low as $19 per window and $81 per patio door per month.
Ho, ho, ho. Visit the Pella site and to all a good night.
PellaWI.com. Certain restrictions apply and 12/31/2024.
Bill Michaels will resume in 5 minutes. Bill Michaels will resume in 4 minutes. Bill Michaels will resume in 3 minutes. Bill Michaels will resume in 2 minutes. Bill Michaels will resume in 1 minute. Bill Michaels will resume in 30 seconds.
Good to have you back. Today is Trivia Day out at Curly's Waterfront Sports Bar and Grill. Yeah. Today, they're giving away Packers tickets to the Monday night contest, and they're giving away some Marquette tickets as well. They've got a pair of tickets to give away to, like I mentioned, the Packers-Saints game on Monday, and cash and more. They're going to have the Broncos and the Chargers on tonight, and I don't know what they've got. They got Buffalo mac and cheese tonight on special over there at Curly's Waterfront Sports Bar and Grill. That's not a bad way to go. I don't care who you are. Buffalo mac and cheese tonight at Curly's Waterfront. So they've got Thursday Night Football, Buffalo Chicken Mac. They've got sliders tonight, double raffle tickets, cash raffle tonight as well. They're going to have college basketball on the hoops. So there you go. There you go. Curly's Waterfront Sports Bar and Grill. If you're looking for something to do tonight, that would be the place to go, especially if you're trying to get yourself a pair of Packers tickets to go to Monday night's contest. So how are we looking? Coming up in the next segment, I'm going to give you our next name for actually I've got two of them for one of our winners, or two of our winners, I should say, for what is going to happen on the 29th. We're going to be at Potawatomi Hotel Casino, and we are going to have some tables that are all going to be set up that are reserved. By the way, to reserve a table there is $200 individually. So we get the tables reserved, plus you and a guest get a $50 gift card for food and beverage at Potawatomi Hotel Casino. You come down and you watch the Packers-Minnesota game with us on the 29th as they go to U.S. Bank Stadium in Minneapolis and take on the Purple of People. And we are going to have a good time. We're going to have a lot of fun. Hopefully the Packers win. We got the Green and Gold postgame show coming live from Potawatomi Sportsbook and Hotel Casino. So we're going to be down there doing that. So really looking forward to it. Again, coming up a week from this Sunday. And we're going to announce another name. And the way you get registered for this is you just keep following us. Whether it's on one of our platforms. I know this one came off of TikTok, which I don't do a ton with TikTok, but the algorithm pulled it off of TikTok. So, and we got a hold of our winners, so which is great. But we're going to announce that name as well. We got a hold of him in the sense of, hey, we shot him an email, and yes, they are indeed a genuine follower and indeed interested because they're not in the city. So there you have it. But love that kind of stuff. This is from Mac, who said the team that needs to win the most is the Green Bay Packers. Matt LaFleur has been there often, just has not been able to get past an NFC Championship game. Don't you think he is feeling more heat than any of these other coaches who weren't supposed to be there? Do you think he's feeling more heat than McDermott? Do you think he's feeling more heat than Harbaugh? No, Harbaugh's safe. He doesn't have any. I think it's not Harbaugh that's feeling the heat because Harbaugh's been there, done that. I think it's more so that because Harbaugh's got a ring. I think it's more so Lamar Jackson's feeling the heat than anything. I'm trying to think. I don't think Matt LaFleur is feeling that level of heat because I don't know if they're supposed to be there yet. I think the team that was picked to win the division was Dan Campbell and company, but Dan Campbell's not going to feel the heat because, I mean, look at his defense. They're completely gone. I mean, if Dan Campbell got again to an NFC Championship game and, say, made another bad decision because of over-aggressiveness, then you can say Dan Campbell's feeling the heat. He's a guy that's going to get you there, but some of his own stupid mistakes are going to cost them. But that's the way that team plays, and they love that guy. So you can't discount that.
By the way, on Matt LaFleur, this always comes up. Do you guys ever hear the audio that we play from NFL shows and analysts who cover the game and write about the game? They're all like, man, Matt LaFleur deserves more credit. He should be in the Coach of the Year conference. He's so good. All these things he does well. And then on this show, it's like, is Matt LaFleur on the hot seat? It's like, where's that coming from?
He's not on the hot seat. I would say this, that if this team continues to play the same as they're playing, and we continue to see some of the same mistakes, then I'm not saying there's a hot seat, because he's not on a hot seat. I'm not saying there's a hot seat next year. But I think what happens is you start to look at Gutekunst and the talent he's bringing in. What does he do to supplement? Because you remember, David Bakhtiari's coming off of your salary cap. That contract, I mean, you're going to have $60+ million. Now, depending on what you do with Jair, and how Jair plays down the stretch and if he can remain healthy throughout the postseason, because Jair, you could end up cutting him loose and actually gain a little money next year. You still have to fill that position, though. So he would be your biggest cut if you decided to go in that direction monetarily. So I think it's more so how does Goody supplement the talent that is lacking. And it's not that it's like a terribly untalented team, because that's not it. It's a very deep team. You just don't have this level of Pro Bowlers that is believed needed to elevate your team to elite status, if I'm making sense. So what do you replace? What would you look at glaring weaknesses? Is Josh Myers the weakest link on the offensive line, or is it because he's banged up? You picked up Jordan Morgan. Now, Jordan Morgan's unfortunately been banged up all season long, and there's no point in bringing him back at this point, because you don't want to designate him to come back, because you really would like to see Luke Musgrave and Marshawn Lloyd come back. And those are two more weapons that you would then have and be able to utilize once you get to the postseason. So that would leave Jordan Morgan on the outside looking in. And that way it gives him a full year of development. And the best part about it is you don't have to play him. Remember when they drafted Brian Bulaga, they didn't have to play him until they had to play him. And that's when Mark Tauscher went down with a knee injury. So offensive linemen, they can churn those out. They've been pretty good at that. But where I think this team, again, and I hate to say this because we talk about it each and every year, but you need defensive help. You need depth in the secondary, and you need either better talent or different style up front. You could always use linebackers, you could always use pass rushers. And when you finally hit on one that's, of the ilk of, say, a TJ Watt or a Bosa or, Micah Parsons or something like that, well, then you finally got your guy. But, until then, you continue to stockpile as much talent in those positions as you can. But plus, it'll be year 2 of Jeff Hafley's defense. So I think it's more the incumbent of Goody to find additional talent and elevate the level of talent on the defensive side of the football, and maybe find another asset. Do you go out, because you've been pretty healthy this year in the wide receiving department. So maybe you go out and get yourself another wide receiver or a top-notch guy that's going to be an elevator over the top, that's going to raise the level of all ships. So I that's kind of where I'm at. I don't think that, unless they say have bad clock management down the stretch, and again, you're watching this team just kind of step on its own, stuff in the third quarter again, or can't get off to a fast start again, and they get punched in the face, and we're still talking about coaching mistakes and all that kind of stuff. I don't think there's no hot seat for Matt LaFleur this year. Next year, depending on how things go, we'll look at that and see if it changes. But I agree. Matt LaFleur, by many accounts, is considered one of the top coaches and innovative coaches in the National Football League. Now, whether that translates into he's a great head coach or he's just a better offensive play caller, that's up for debate. But I think with the job that he's done and the way he's kind of kept his arms around the team, specifically last year when it started to splinter apart, I think he's done a pretty good job. And the records speak for itself. I mean, but then again, you can talk about wins so much, and people in Green Bay don't care. They don't, you can go 8-8 or 8-9 every year. Just get to the postseason and win a championship. That's all we care about. And the number of championships next to his name, the number of Super Bowl appearances next to his name is 0. And that's a glaring. So maybe he does need it. Maybe he does need it, if you want to look at it that way. 877-867-1670, 877-867-1670. Hit us up. We'd love to hear from you. A lot more of the Bill Michaels Show coming up right after this.
Covering Wisconsin sports like a blanket. This is the Bill Michaels Show on the Wisconsin Sports Zone Radio Network.
Bill Michaels will resume in 3 minutes. Bill Michaels will resume in 2 minutes. Bill Michaels will resume in 1 minute. Bill Michaels will resume in 30 seconds.
Welcome back. Snowy Thursday in the state of Wisconsin. It snows. It happens. It's cold here. Yeah. Yeah. Good stuff. And love you having here and hanging here with us and checking us out on the live stream and such. Good day. Kind of a blustery day. We've got the Tiki Bar cam going again. It started out this morning and there was nothing there. And then within the last hour and a half, it is started to accumulate. So there you go. 877-867-1670, 877-867-1670. If you want to hit us up, please feel free. Go ahead and do so again, 877-867-1670. By the way, last minute gift ideas. I know if you're out there running around right now, you're trying to get things done. Maybe you're shopping local, which is fantastic. And you're thinking to yourself, man, I've got a kid in my life that goes to college. I don't know what to get them. Or maybe you've got somebody that travels a lot all around the state of Wisconsin, drives a lot. You're thinking, I don't know what to get them. I'm telling you right now, this is what you do. You look up because there's one on every corner. You look up. Quick Trip right there. There you go. Quick Trip gift cards, man. That's the best. I love them. I get those things in the mail or I get those things from friends and they're like, I know you get a lot of these, but here you go. I love that. Whether it's stopping in and getting gas or maybe going in and getting a burger or get one of the iced teas that I get. And then I load up with all the other little things that I can grab along the way. Or you're just going in there for some last minute things for your holiday feast, your Christmas feast, whether it's the bread, the milk, the eggs, the butter. Maybe you just had enough of the family. You need to get into the beer cave and say, what the hell, dude? Right? Then you head home, chug a lug. There you go. Talk to you later, family. I'm going to bed. Whatever it happens to be, whatever your needs are, that's our friends at Quick Trip. And they always make great gift ideas. And don't forget, check out your Quick Rewards. Go to quicktrip.com. You can even check the fan zone, quicktrip.com/fan zone, and your Quick Rewards points there. And who knows, maybe you could still get some stuff along the way. It'd be fantastic, whether it's a free burger or a free vehicle. They're always giving something away over there at Quick Trip. And as they say, we'll see you next time. See you next time. Good stuff from our friends at Quick Trip. And yes, Mike, Quick Trip does have eggnog. Just so you know, they have eggnog. They have pretty good eggnog too. That I'll tell you this: if you've never been to that facility, man, that dairy facility they have out there is amazing. That's the reason Quick Trip milk is like nuclear. It stays great for like a month. It's I'm over exaggerating, but it does. It stays better longer than anything else out there because you can literally watch it come in. They whatever they do to it right there comes right out of the trucks. They wash the trucks down. Everything's clean. Everything's sanitized. Boom, goes in, and it's right into the milk jugs and back out again. I mean, it's as fresh gets. So, or there you go. Rick says, last year I got the wife a Quick Trip car wash card. I love those things too. That's fantastic. Good stuff from our friends over there at Quick Trip. This is from Jake. Jake says, I think Matt LaFleur is not on the hot seat at all. He's done a fantastic job. I just don't like sometimes his in-game management and assessment. I think he's too wrapped up in play calling and not being the head coach. What are your thoughts? No, because you see other coaches do it. You know, here's the thing. If he's winning, he's great. If he's not, he's not. You know? So, I mean, when he was calling plays against Dallas last year on Thanksgiving Day, he was a genius. Great head coach. They're going in. They're kicking ass. They were ready to play. Heck yes. They go into San Francisco. They get stymied a little bit. Couple of bad decisions. They have a couple of things get away from them. Interception at the end of the game. It wasn't a well-coached game. And I can understand that because I'm critical too. I look at certain play calling and I can question and go, what the hell are you doing? You know, this is working and this is what you should be doing. And, you know, if and ifs and buts and candy and nuts, we'd all have a Merry Christmas, right? But I think overall, Matt LaFleur has done a fantastic job. Are there things that he needs to do better that rear their ugly head at times? Yes, of course. But he's also the guy that on Monday was the first to admit that. And that I appreciate. But then you go the next step. Then you fix it. We are I can't believe 2 hours are down that fast. Holy crap. Today's flying by. Hopefully it's flying by for you too. Hopefully we're making your day even better. If you're out there on the roads, maybe stuck in the snow or, you know, traipsing along the highway that's slowed down when normally you're doing 80, now you're down to 40. Hey, just hang in there. Thanks for hanging out with us. Stay safe. Stay safe. We got a lot more of the Bill Michaels Show. 2 hours down, 2 hours yet to go. Don't go anywhere. More right after this.
This is a Wisconsin Sports Zone update.
Well, the Packers back on the field for practice today as they prep for Monday night's matchup with New Orleans. That includes wide receiver Christian Watson. The third-year wideout has started to make a big impact in recent weeks. He's got 2 100-yard games over the last 5 games, and he's averaging nearly 30 yards per catch in that time. Coach Matt LaFleur was asked about Watson's impact of late.
I think Christian's been practicing better. I think he's had a great probably last 2 months. He's really showed up, and it's showing up on game day. So he's made a lot of great plays. That catch he made on the sideline, that was big time. He also drew a pass interference call. That was a 40-yard penalty that doesn't show up on the stat sheet, but that was a big-time play. And not to mention, he's blocking his butt off as well.
Again, it'll be the Packers and the Saints on Monday night. Packers could have a playoff spot wrapped up by the time they take the field that night. Turning to the Badgers, they added 2 more players from the transfer portal yesterday. That included wide receiver Jaden Ballard from Ohio State, gives Wisconsin 11 additions from the portal. While they've seen 20-plus guys leave, players have until December 28th to enter the portal, but they don't actually have to choose a school by that point.
ABC of Wisconsin is the largest apprenticeship program in the state, with more than 2,000 active apprentices in 12 different skilled trades. In the ABC apprenticeship program, you earn while you learn on the job, get paid to go to class, and graduate with a job in your craft, but without the huge college debt. Explore 12 different construction trades in one spot at buildyourcareerwi.org, or just search online for ABC of Wisconsin.
Well, the Bucs are headed to Cleveland, where they're going to face off against the Cavs tomorrow as they look to keep their momentum from their NBA Cup win going. Milwaukee's won 11 of their last 13 games. And Wisconsin getting closer to getting back to the court. They face Detroit Mercy on Sunday. With this Wisconsin Sports Zone Network update, I'm Zach Heil.
Good to have you back. Bill Michaels Show. Snow flying. Christmas feeling. Football happening. I love it. I love it. Today begins the gauntlet of football. Today begins the gauntlet of football. It just does. Starting tonight, Broncos, Chargers. Fantastic. Good game, too. 9-5 Broncos on the road, taking on the 8-6 Chargers. Both teams vying for the postseason, trying to hang in there. Love that. Then the playoffs are finally here. The playoffs in the college ranks are finally here. I'm loving life. We had bowl games last night. Had a pretty good bowl game last night with Cal and was it Utah State? I think was on last night. You had a good one, so I was enjoying that. Watching a little football last night, and then tomorrow you've got Indiana for the Battle of the State of Indiana on the road. Number 10 Indiana, the Hoosiers.
Do you see the ticket prices for that game? By the way,
no.
So I'll pull it up. Just so I have a point of reference. These tickets are unbelievable. And with Notre Dame fans in attendance, like, I guess that makes sense because that's, not to, I guess not to stereotype. That's a wealthier fan base.
You would
Let me
assume.
see here. Fan-sided, the cheapest ticket is $415 for that game.
Really?
Let me see what the average is.
That's getting up there.
Well, I'm sure the whole state wants to go.
Yeah.
It's the first time Hoosiers fans for football and forever have been able to do anything like this. And again, Notre Dame fans have nothing but money, or a lot of them do.
Well, you would assume so, yeah.
Yeah. Starting at 483, StubHub, they start at 437. Yeah, basically the cheapest tickets start at the mid 400s. Wow. And the average is obviously a lot higher than that.
Yeah.
Oh.
That's some cash. But I get it. Look, I got to think that Indiana Hoosier fans are probably buying them up. Because, first of all, when's the last time Indiana was number 10 in the country? I think at that point in time, we were all underwater. Moses was going around out there looking for tablets, and then you had some guy named Noah with a bunch of animals on a boat. That's the last time they were probably this high and highly ranked. And they are looking hell and high water to try to find tickets for this thing. Not to mention now, oh, by the way, you're only playing the king of your state, who's been the king, sitting on the pedestal, looking down on all you peasants for all this time, football-wise, and just basically saying, kiss the ring. So I got to think Hoosier fans are out of their damn mind. And I'll be honest with you, I am rooting like hell for Indiana. I'm not a Signetti fan. Some of the pomposity kind of rubs me the wrong way, and I got a buddy of mine, Josh, who is just an all-out. He went there. He went to Notre Dame. He's beyond a Golden Domer. I mean, he's like, if everybody there decided to do a Hale-Bopp Comet and drink Kool-Aid and put covers over their head and go to sleep forever, he'd probably do it. He's that kind of a Golden Domer, and he just annoys the hell out of me. So.
Yeah, tickets in the end zone, right beneath the scoreboard.
Yeah.
If I want to pair, they're $1,800. Oof. Second level, so kind of beneath the press box, 50-yard line, that's $900.
Oh my God!
Like the corner, lower bowl, end zone corner, $1,400. That's Yeah. I'm sure the crowds will still be great. I don't think fans are getting priced out.
Right.
I'm glad that these first round games are at actual college sites.
I love that.
I do too.
I never thought I'd like the full expansion, and we still argued over who should and shouldn't be, and everybody was belly aching about Alabama and all that stuff, and who cares?
And also,
but it all worked out. I mean, this is fun. By the way, the whole encroachment for the NFL playing on the weekend and playing on Saturday, and people are upset with the NFL because how dare you do this to the NCAA? Look, the NCAA has morphed over the years. The NFL hasn't. The NFL's always had Saturday games. They've always played the last few weeks of the season. They've always had some Saturday games because at that point in time, until you got to New Year's Day, you didn't have really big games in college football. It's been over the last 2 decades that college football has changed more than the pro football has changed. They've always stayed away from Friday night games for the most part because of high school, and they don't usually do that during the regular season. So, but when it comes to college, they've stayed off of Saturdays. They've probably had the ability to move to Saturdays, and they haven't done it. But it's always been, there's been a couple of games on a weekend as you get to the last 2-3 weeks of the season. That's always been there. But you didn't have the morphing of you had the bowl games that were on New Year's Day. The big ones were on New Year's Day. And then you had the expansion a little bit that took it to the week after New Year's Day. So in essence, college football has encroached on the NFL and put themselves in a bad position, not vice versa. But even when college football did it, then they were doing it on Monday night when the NFL was done with Monday night. So no, look, everybody, and now I don't feel bad for the NCAA at all because they're all about the money. It's a money sport now. Now it's just fight for the ratings and who gets what sponsorship. Who cares? It's not like you're back to the days of just athletes getting a scholarship and that's it. And it was strictly extracurricular. No, nay. It's big business now. So no, I don't give a damn. As long as there's good games on, whatever game's going to draw my interest, that's the game I'm going to watch. So I'm good with that. But Friday night, you got Indiana going on the road, taking on Notre Dame. And then Saturday, which is just within itself fascinating. Saturday, you got, let's kind of go through your day. This is the day as you go through it. You get up in the morning on Saturday. You're kind of like, okay, here we go. And you look at it and you go, wait a minute. Let's start at noon. Noon kickoff. Beaver Stadium. You've got SMU, number 11 in the country, taking on Penn State. And as the day starts to roll on, you're, wait a minute, flip the channel. Whoa, here we go. Wait a minute. Then you've got a noon kickoff. You got the Texans and the Chiefs in the NFL side of things, which is fantastic. So now you're flipping back and forth and you're going out of your damn mind. And then you get the SMU Penn State game that culminates. And then Darrell K. Royal Texas Memorial Stadium. Put all that on a business card. Stupid as hell. But nevertheless, Texas, number 5, hosts number 12, Clemson. Yeah, that game gets underway at 4:00. And in the meantime, you go back because in the NFL, which is a 3:30 start time, you already got the Steelers and the Ravens on. And that's a big game. And then those games culminate. Next thing you know, you're going to the shoe. And Tennessee, number 9 in the country, is going in to knock out Ryan Day and take him out of his job and get rid of that Earl Scheib painted on beard that he has and take out the Ohio State Buckeyes in Columbus, Ohio. That's your Saturday. And then you get into your normal Sunday slate of football games. And then you and I and the rest of the world get to sit back, relax, and enjoy ourselves. And whatever wrapping we have left to do, we can finish up and put stuff under the tree while we have our eggnogs and our pizzas and our wings and anything else we're going to eat and find our big, fat, bloated asses laying all over the seats that night because we get up the next day. And oh, by the way, here come the Green Bay Packers at home, Lambeau Field, a little bit of snow, and the Saints come rolling in. That's a weekend right there. That's a weekend where you don't even wear pants. It's that kind of a weekend. It's so fantastic. Unless, of course, you have kids. Then you have to wear pants. But, man.
You don't have to. You probably should.
You should. Yeah.
And it's nice because Tuesday, Christmas Eve, you can do family stuff. You don't have any games you got to focus on. But then Wednesday, the NFL gives you a couple options. And then, remember the NBA still plays games on Christmas, too. Easy to forget now in 2024. But it's also an option, I suppose.
But it's a banner freaking weekend. This is like great. Kristen said to me, because we're supposed to go to dinner tonight, and it's nearby, so it's not a big deal about going out into the weather. And then there is an ugly sweater pub crawl we're supposed to go to tomorrow night. And I said, look, I'll go, but wherever we go, that Indiana game better be on as long as I can see it, because otherwise we leave that place, wherever, we're going to end up going. But Saturday, don't plan anything. I'm going to wear a Santa hat. But tomorrow I got my bunny suit, but got a Santa hat, and that's all I'm going to do. Santa hat, big sweatshirt, sweatpants, nothing going on. And Saturday, it's just, if she's got stuff to wrap, I've got a few things to wrap, and fire in the fireplace. There's going to be a lot of delivery drivers peeling in and out of the driveway. That's going to be the extent of it. Maybe a cigar down in the bar if I'm starting to feel better again by then. That's it.
I just love that these games are going to be played at the college stadiums, because as I get older, Bill, and maybe this is a weird thing, you can speak to this, maybe you can't. I just get sick of watching games at the same 4 domes.
Yes.
So the college football playoff. Okay. So one's at Jerry World, one's at Mercedes-Benz. Like, I just get sick of, there's no character there.
Right.
There's no feel there. Like these games, I like cold weather games. So I like that some will be outside, but it also just feels better when a game isn't in the same 2 or 3 same stadiums. I just get sick of those places.
I love it. I love it that these teams, if they're going to go, there would be nothing better to me. And I don't ask for a lot for Christmas because I don't need anything. Kristen's always like, you're the hardest guy to buy for. And she always gives me these really meaningful gifts. And I'm just like, oh my God, I can't believe you bought me that. Because I'm such a turd. But all I'd ask for this year is to watch Indiana get a win. That would be to see Indiana on Friday night. I'd be sitting there with an ugly sweater on at whatever pub crawl we're doing or whatever we're supposed to do. And I'd have a beverage in front of me. And I would hoist one to Indiana. And then after that, I could see Indiana get beat. I really don't care. But I would just love to see Indiana knock off Notre Dame. And I know I'm already getting two guys that know me that are my Notre Dame buddies, and they're texting me going, how can you, my buddy, and this is what a Notre Dame fan says, how can you spew such sacrilege? Nobody else just, most people just text you, you suck. I can't believe you're saying that. How can you spew such sacrilege? That's from a Notre Dame educated person. I don't even know what sacrilege means anymore. But yeah, that's what I'm looking forward to this weekend. God, what a good weekend. And then at night, once everything's settled down, I'm going to sit down and watch the episodes of the Aaron Rodgers thing, the documentary, so I can talk a little bit about it on Monday. Did you watch it yet?
No, I think I'm going to watch. I might make my sister watch some of it with me next weekend or next week when we're laying around at my folks' place.
I'm going to sit down and watch it. And I've had a couple people that have reached out that have said, hey, because people have the general thought that I have a bad vibe of Aaron Rodgers, and I really don't.
Nothing against him. You just call balls and strikes.
I just exactly right. That's just it. It's I've said all along. I thought that he changed and morphed as a person, which everybody does, but I'm not necessarily for the better. That's just my opinion. But what he did here, and I was a guy that was hoping he would stay another year. So I was the guy that was rooting for maybe Gutekunst to work out a deal and hang on to him. Now, after all these years, now Aaron Rodgers, by the way, did you read that he's now willing to take a pay cut to stay in New York and kind of, try to really do what he was supposed to do there? Did you see that?
I saw there was a story out from Pro Football Talk. I don't know where he pulled it, but it's like Rodgers is, he's going to need to take some time to decide whether or not he wants to come back, which is always funny because I think he wants to come back. So say it, scream it from the rooftops, right? Like, let's start now on next year. Stop with the whole, but I think players, when they're on the edge of the retirement, they like keeping people waiting a little bit, Rodgers especially.
I go back to what Tom Brady said. And Tom Brady said, I took 2 weeks off and then I knew I was coming back. And then it was time to get ready. And he said, as I got older, I had to work harder. And this is the complaint that I have about Rodgers. Rodgers was the one last year coming out of that season with the Achilles, getting ready to go into the offseason. Remember, there was some talk about him coming back last year if they'd actually had made the playoffs. And he had said, hey, it's all about football. If you don't have anything football related, don't bring it into this house, meaning into this locker room. And then he was the guy that did just the opposite, very hypocritical. And he's off making documentaries and doing other things that aren't football related, where Brady was like, I'm working, I'm getting my guys together in the offseason. Yeah, I'm doing some fun things. Don't get me wrong. And he talked about it. He said, I like to go to the Kentucky Derby. I like to spend some time on islands with my family and all, yada, yada. But he said, man, it was all football all the time. That's all it was. And I can't put Rodgers in that same light in comparison because there's nothing that says all football all the time in the offseason. We've seen some video of him running up and down hills and, hanging out with guys, but more videos of him laying in mud and pooping in buckets and going to Egypt and, hanging out with other people and playing golf and, all the other things but football. So I think he's going to, if he says he needs to take a couple months, that's probably a month too much. Like you said, say, hey, I want to come back. Whatever it's going to take to put better talent on the field, to get guys around us, to get on the same page. Because they're going to hire a coach within the first few weeks of the offseason. So the minute they hire the coach and the staff is in place, if I'm Aaron Rodgers, I'm staying in New York. Hey, I want to sit down with you every damn day. Hey, come out to my house in Malibu for 2 weeks. Let's sit down and go over stuff every damn day. I want to see where your head's at. I want you to see where my head's at. Let's evaluate, kind of who's around us and who I'm comfortable with. And then beyond that, then eliminate Rodgers from that process and say, you go away, you get healthy, you get better, work on your speed, work on your arm, whatever it is you need to work on, because we're going to work on putting an offense together because we know that your talent evaluation sucks. So what we're going to do is we're going to go ahead and put this team together. So when you come back, we've got a team around you that we can say is going to be fortified for you to be a better player, and that's not going to have everything relying upon your shoulder. But we would rather rely upon your leadership. But your leadership means that you have to be here. You have to be present. You have to be the guy that's not going to be just the face of the organization, but the face of this team inside the walls. And if you can't commit to that, well, then go ahead and retire and move on. But don't take 2 months and tell us, well, I'll let you know. And, and oh, by the way, FaceTime me, bro, and all that crap, So So we'll see. But I'd love to see him come back and see if they're able to do anything in New York with a better staff and better talent around him.
I want him back. It's good for content, and he's actually playing okay. Mike on the live stream says that's why Brady is the GOAT or was the GOAT. Tom Brady has said in interviews that I've heard the last 2 years, I would take a week or two, and then I would go about the offseason, and I would train, and I would work out. Like, if I needed to play a game on Sunday, I could.
Yeah.
And when you're younger, I don't think you need to operate that way. But when you're 40 plus,
absolutely,
and you've suffered a major injury, like you kind of need to be all in 110%, or it's not going to work.
Yep.
So I think that's what Rodgers needs to decide. And I'm not going to hold my breath because that's not how he operates. But I think that's the only way that it works.
Steve, I'm sorry you hang up. Steve was in Cornell, and he ended up hanging up. And Steve, if you can call back, I'll get your phone call first. Let's get to Gabe and Tosa real quick. Gabe, how you doing today, man? What's going on? What you thinking?
Hey, Bill, how are we looking?
Looking good today, Steve. Or Gabe, I'm sorry. I was talking to Steve before. Go ahead.
No, it's fine. So you were stating before, what was it? If you had the choice, you would rather bring back Marshawn Lloyd over Jordan Morgan?
I said what they've chose to do is bring, because right now you've got the choice of bringing some players back. I think what they're looking at is Jordan Morgan's injury was more significant, and they want him to completely heal up. I think what they're looking at is Marshawn Lloyd and Luke Musgrave to come back. That's the reason, because they're all right now on the IR.
Right. No, if you would have said different, my argument would have just been that the depth chart running back room right now just seems very solid to me, with Wilson and Brooks playing very well lately. So if you did have the choice to bring back Morgan, if he was fully healthy, I would most definitely take him back, just because I feel offensive line is more of an important position if a player gets injured compared to running back with the depth that we have right now.
Right. To me, I guess the other thing is who they think is going to impact the team the most. And I guess if you bring it, and again, I don't know if Marshawn Lloyd is better than Emmanuel Wilson. I don't know if he's better than Brooks. I don't know. But I know that they wanted to bring him back. He was ready to come back, and then obviously had the appendectomy. So that's something, he's coming back, but he's not coming back from, he's not coming back from a hamstring issue. He's coming back because he had to have a certain emergency surgery, So if he's fully healed from that and the doctors have cleared him, then he's healthy and he's good. So maybe that's the reason that they're more eyeballing Marshawn Lloyd. But I would love to see Luke Musgrave come back, because I think he can add another dynamic offensively to this team too, especially when you're looking at the 12 set.
Absolutely. Great pass blocker. So one more question for you, Bill. Now that Montgomery is out for Detroit, do you feel that they're not like a serious contender anymore? They've had so many injuries. I don't know if they play on concrete with turf on the top over there at Detroit, but that seems to be a major issue there. Wondering about that.
That's a great question. I don't know. I don't know where the injuries have happened. And here's the other question, because and this is something I'm going to go into when we come back, because people have asked about that. And when they were putting that up the other day, they were talking about teams that played on the turf, because MetLife is still, I think, probably the worst, if I'm not mistaken. But that being said, that with all the guys that they have that are on the IR, what the question is even if they didn't get hurt there, are they getting hurt incrementally by playing on that turf over there? And somebody tell me, because we went through this whole thing the other day, like maybe a week or 2 or 3 weeks ago, when we were talking about turf, and somebody said, no, they've replaced the turf at MetLife. Now it's back to the better turf, which means we're not seeing as many injuries at MetLife, but maybe Ford Field has or hasn't. I can't remember. I know Ford Field was one of them that had bad turf in it because the turf was unforgiving. It didn't flex the way the new turf does to allow, feet and such to plant and not get stuck, and therefore, doesn't give when you get hit. So I don't know, but there's got to be something to it, right? There's got to be. I don't know if there's ever been a study as to what surface or what stadium has the most injuries in the NFL. I don't know. I don't know if it's training. But we're talking about a guy left with a broken jaw. That has nothing to do with the turf. Broken legs that get snapped because they get bent under other people. I don't know if that has anything to do with the turf. ACLs, MCLs, hamstrings, all that stuff. Yeah, I could talk about that. But man, they've just had a myriad of bad injuries. I mean, Aiden Hutchinson, he didn't get hurt, I think, on that turf. I thought he got hurt. Didn't he get hurt? Was it in Dallas? In that game in Dallas? Didn't he get
Not
hurt?
100% sure about that.
I can't remember. But that's a great question.
to your point, not every single one of those injuries has taken place at Ford Field.
Right.
So whether Hutchinson was hurt there or not, they've had too many injuries to be limited to just one location. Right. But I think it's worth at least thinking about and talking about because that surface has claimed a lot of players when the Packers go play up there. People don't seem to like it.
Bakhtiari hated it. I know that. Bakhtiari always complained about Ford Field. He said it was one of the worst turfs because there was no give to it. And that was part of the problem. So I don't know. 877-867-1670. Woefully late for a break. Coming up bottom of the hour, Kevin Holden from CBS 58 has left us in the state of Wisconsin. He is now in the Carolinas. And suddenly, who shows up at his house, or at least in his area? Bill Belichick. We'll talk about that when we come back. Stay tuned. More of the Bill Michaels Show coming up next.
Ready? This is the Bill Michaels Show on the Wisconsin Sports Zone Radio Network.
Ho, 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 my back.
Santa?
Ho, 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 Gina Della from Pella. You've been a good girl this year.
Is that why you're in here building new windows?
Yes. Next year, how about just asking for a Pella gift card? My elves are used to designing windows from other places where they're all pretty much the same. But Pella? Ho, 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 so many customizations and designs. My elves aren't qualified, so Santa has to put in some overtime. Ho,
Let me make a call. BRB.
Frighteningly fast pellet team at your service. Let us take it from here, Mr. Claus. And Gina, next time.
Yeah, I know. Santa already lectured me. Ask for a Pella gift card.
What if you need new windows or doors, but you're on the naughty list?
Right now at Pella Windows and Doors of Wisconsin, get as low as $19 per window and $81 per patio door per month.
Ho, ho, ho. Visit the Pella site and to all a good night.
PellaWI.com. Certain restrictions apply and 12/31/2024.
Bill Michaels will resume in 3 minutes. Bill Michaels will resume in 2 minutes. Bill Michaels will resume in 1 minute. Bill Michaels will resume in 30 seconds.
You got to hit it, bang it, rock it, put it in the pocket. Hit it, bang it, rock it, put it in the pocket.
Good to have you back. Got a note here. Keith, a longtime friend of mine, Keith writes, I was driving on Blue Mountain Road the other day listening to the program. And he has in parentheses, as he always does, he said, my daughter, who went to UW-Madison a year ago, still lives out there, coming home for Christmas. And you gave me the idea. I stuffed her stocking with Cousins gift cards. They absolutely love Cousins. Thanks for the heads up. I just thought of something. I needed to get my daughter something else to stuff in the stocking. And that's for my buddy Keith. And he goes on about a lot of their stuff, but it was kind of a nice thing. I was sitting there talking about, hey, if you got somebody in your life, man, that would appreciate gift cards, and gift cards, some people think it's very, sending somebody a gift card they feel is non-personal. But if it's something that they really enjoy or really like or really could use and appreciate because it doesn't have to, they don't have to pull money out of their pocket, such as college kids, you bet, man. Cousin subs, that's the way to go. Gift cards, baby. And don't forget, this time of year or even going into the new year, a lot of people put off their holiday parties until after the first of the year, which you think is crazy, but nevertheless, I get it. And they cater too, man. They got catering all over the joint. So check out our friends at Cousin Subs, where they believe in better since 1972 here in the state of Wisconsin. Cousin Subs, believe in better. Coming up after the bottom of the hour, our buddy Kevin Holden from CBS 58. So he leaves here and he's off to the Carolinas and Tobacco Road and Duke and North Carolina. And he's going to cover everything from hockey to the college basketball and football ranks. And then all of a sudden, Bill Belichick shows up in his backyard. So we're going to talk to Kevin about that a little bit and talk to him about his transition moving down there. But yeah, that was that was like, wow, how about that, man? You leave, and the next thing you know, you're covering a press conference with Bill Belichick being introduced as the next head coach of the Carolina Tar Heels. So craziness down there. 877-867-1670, 877-867-1670. Chad, by the way, Chad says here in Myrtle Beach, South Carolina, can't wait to watch the Packers game coming up on Monday night. What is the key for the Packers to get this win and get out of there healthy? Well, you can't, let me say this. You can't play. I hope they can get out of there healthy, but you can't plan health. If you start planning health, then you're end up going to get it hurt. The key to the win, to me, I think that's easy. It's just your offense need to keep operating the way it's been and even better. That's it. There's nothing more to it than that. They're not great against the run. It's a decent defense at best, but the way right now that, first of all, you're going to have probably some weather in the area. It's not going to be great. New Orleans is not a very good football team. Let's be honest. They've had their coach fired, their quarterbacks. They've gone through a couple of quarterbacks. Derek Carr is now down for the season. They don't rank high in a lot of different standards, so to speak. So I think the Packers should win. They should win going away. I'm not concerned about it, to be perfectly honest with you. And I think that Jordan Love and Josh Jacobs are going to have somewhat of a field day. You start to look at a lot of these defensive statistics. They are third worst in the National Football League when it comes to total overall defense. The Saints are third worst. The only two teams worse than them are Carolina and Jacksonville. So to me, I run Josh Jacobs all over. And as far as their defense goes against the pass, they are fifth worst. Actually, it's funny because the team that's worse than them against the pass, you'd never guess this. It's Minnesota. Minnesota is the fourth worst. They're 28th. The 27th team against the pass is the New Orleans Saints. You'd never guess that with the way that, but the thing is that the pass down, that's passing yardage given up. But the thing about it is that Flores brings pressure all the time, which can make them vulnerable. So if you hit quick, you can pick up yardage on them. And when you look at this team against the run, they are 26th. So their defense is just not good. The Packers should be able to move the ball pretty easily against this team. Now, you don't want to take them for granted because any NFL team could beat you on any given day, and maybe just your individual matchups don't match up properly. But, that it's a good question. But to me, it's all about getting this offense on track against a bad defense coming into Lambeau Field. It's that simple. 877-867-1670. Hit us up. hit us up. Stay tuned. We got a whole lot more of the Bill Michaels Show coming up next. Our buddy Kevin Holden from CBS 58. He is down in the Carolinas, which is now the new home of one Bill Belichick. I kid you not. He's going to join us coming up next. Our buddy Tim from Tim's Stereo System. Look, I've said this for a long time. If you are somebody who is the significant other or friend of or whatever, you're looking for somebody who's got a motorcycle on your Christmas list, call Tim. Say, Tim, hey, I want to get their bike in. They've been looking for a stereo for a while. They've been looking for brake assist for a while. They've been looking for a new, brighter, wider headlight for a while. I want to get them all hooked up. So call Tim, 608-718-1425. 608-718-1425. Say, Tim, hey, I'm just going to give him something. Put something into the stocking or something under the tree, and then we're going to get that bike down there and leave it with you for a couple of days, and you take care of this thing. His craftsmanship and the way he does things is second to none. And it took me 2 years to find this guy. And finally, when I had my bike done, absolutely love it. Even during the Christmas party, there was a couple people said, hey, can I see your bike? Can you turn it on? Went out there, turned it on, boom, put the stereo on. And like, wow, this actually does sound really good. Tim Stereo Systems, motorcycle audio, authorized Sounds, SOUNDZ, Sounds dealer. But he is the best when it comes to installation. 608-718-1425. 608-718-1425. That's Tim's Stereo Systems motorcycle audio. 608-718-1425.
This is the Bill Michaels Show on the Wisconsin Sports Zone Radio Network.
Bill Michaels will resume in 5 minutes. Bill Michaels will resume in 4 minutes. Bill Michaels will resume in 3 minutes. Bill Michaels will resume in 2 minutes. Bill Michaels will resume in 1 minute. Bill Michaels will resume in 30 seconds.
Welcome back. Bill Michaels Show. Glad to have you on board today. Kind of a cool day today. Not literally, just because the snow is flying, but we get to check back in. One of our guys who left us headed off to other pastures that seemingly are a little bit warmer, but he goes off to the Carolinas and Tobacco Road and Duke and North Carolina and checking out hockey now, and then all of a sudden he's having dinner with Bill Belichick. How we looking? That's our good buddy Kevin Holden from formerly from CBS 58. Kevin, what is your station down there in the Carolinas now?
CBS 17 is the station here, so it's a little lower on the dial. 17 makes me think of the old Superstation days. Remember WTBS?
There you go.
Yeah.
So first of all, how you liking it?
I got to tell you, it's fantastic. I'm going to gain a lot of weight because there's a lot of barbecue and a lot of very good food here that I'm going to be overzealous about trying for the first couple months. So I'm going to need to kick up the time on the treadmill. And friendly people, that's all fine. I knew the sports scene would be good here, but I had no idea I was going to walk into the story of the year.
Right. I'm like, how ironic is it? I'm sitting there watching this Bill Belichick press conference, and I'm thinking to myself, what an introductory week for you to show up at a new job, and they go, oh, by the way, now you got to go check on Bill Belichick, that he has taken over that job. So give me the lowdown to what you hear down there as to why that job made so much sense for Bill Belichick.
Well, and I'll say this too, like the at some point I'm going to have the biography, and there's going to be an entire chapter about this last week because it has been absolutely crazy. We've been, I've been, live reports from Chapel Hill, and people that I don't know are talking to me in my ear. Like an anchor will say, "All right, now with the big story of the day, here's Kevin Holden." I'm like, "Thank you, person, whoever you are." Whoever this is who I haven't met yet, because literally when I walked in the door on the first day I was supposed to anchor, and that was Tuesday last week, and that's when the Belichick news broke. So I spent instead of learning your coworkers' names and how your software works, I spent those 3 days chasing Belichick. But with all that having been said, as ridiculous as it sounded in the beginning, the more I thought about it, the more sense it made, because college football is in a different place right now. College football is, name, image, likeness money, NIL money. It's the transfer portal. It is programs that are bending over backwards and changing their identities to try to get to the forefront of what's happening in the sport right now. I mean, Wisconsin, it was trying to go through the same thing, right? You're trying to bring in an air raid offense and, all these quarterbacks transferring from different places. Like, everywhere in college football, the game is changing so fast, they need someone to roll along with it. So to me, the thing that makes the most sense for Bill Belichick, of all people, to coach at North Carolina, of all places, is that he wants to run it like a professional program. He wants to use the terminology the pros use, the training methods the pros use. And honestly, it's probably one of the best recruiting tools that you can have, because if you're a top-notch player somewhere in the country, and your thought is you want to spend a couple of years making a difference at college and then go on to the NFL, why not learn from Bill Belichick? That's going to sell itself. And to me, that is honestly, when North Carolina heard it, as crazy as the whole thing sounded, they're like, yeah, it makes sense. This dude, no one's been more successful as a professional coach in this generation than Bill Belichick. So why not get him, in the mix? So to me, that's the thing that makes the most sense.
There's been so much guessing going on about Belichick as to why he took that job. And everybody says, well, he's just a coach at heart. And now it went from being, hey, he was all about breaking Don Shula's record to he's just all about being a coach and he doesn't really care. He's still considered the greatest coach of all time by the amount of championships he's won and or been to. So my question then becomes, do you think he does it just because he just wants to coach? Like, I know that's where his dad was and there's a tie there and I get it. Is this just him coming home again saying, this is it for me, this is my last stop? Or is this some kind of I can't imagine at the age of 73 that it's a stepping stone for anything. You know what I mean?
Yeah. The best question of the presser in my mind was somebody said, are you telling me you're going to be standing in some high school recruit's living room, trying to bring him into the fold? And Belichick's like, well, I will if I have to, but the assistants are going to do a lot of the traveling. I thought that was one of the best answers. There's only so much I think he'll be able to do from the recruiting standpoint at his age. But I think for him, I think that the important, for one, I think it is a little bit about legacy and just a fun other chapter. He was done coaching the Patriots, and I think there's a point in your life at that age when you don't believe you're done. Maybe there's another chapter, and it can just be an off the wall thing. And the truth is, if it goes belly up fast, he's still the best NFL coach of his generation and maybe of all time. That's not going to change. But if it goes well, he adds another chapter. He cements a legacy, and he's got sons in the coaching game that he can pass the legacy on to as well. So to me, I think it's something to do. I don't think he's a guy who likes to fish. I think he needed something to do, and this is the thing to do.
So here's my next question, and we all saw that Mark Lazary had kind of talked openly at a forum about buying college teams, and that they were in negotiation with 2 or 3 colleges to buy basically 51% of their team, and then they're going to be the revenue generating force behind bringing in players and such and such. Does Bill Belichick come into Carolina maybe with somebody behind him saying this is the direction that college athletics are now going to go, and that he's just the guy that's somebody's been in his ear to say, hey, this is where it's going in the next couple of years, be a part of this? Do you think?
Yeah, if his goal is to come in and make this thing a professional program for the players, I think it's going to be a professional program in how it's run as well. He has a general manager. Michael Lombardi is his general manager. Like, that's never been heard of in the college game before. So, he is literally taking this thing in a completely different direction. So, yeah, I would have thought that idea was ludicrous 5 years ago. And now I think it's right in the middle of what college football is because, people have realized it's a revenue generator. So, okay, let's take the model of the sport and tie it around that revenue that's generated. You're going to, the more you generate, the better your facilities will be, the better your recruiting can be, the better money that you can get to players. I don't necessarily agree with the system in general, but it is the path it's going. So you either embrace it or you get run over, and Belichick is going to be at the forefront. He's going to have them ahead of the curve.
So how you liking it down there? Because that's a different animal when you get into that level of college basketball, football centric. But you're right there in the heat of college basketball in ACC country.
Yeah. So I got to tell you, the first discussion that I had when I walked in the door here at CBS 17, I asked them. I said, "Do I need to just not wear anything blue?" And they said, "I'm sorry, I don't think I understand." I'm like, "Well, I have, like darker blue, and people are going to think I'm a Duke fan. And if I have lighter blue, they might think I'm a Carolina fan. And we have both teams here. They're both within a half hour of where our station is. They're all those viewers are watching our station. So they thought maybe that was a little over the top on my part to want to throw everything blue away. But that's kind of where we are. It's, if I'm being honest, this is the kind of the dark side of my sports knowledge. I've been an MLB, NFL, NBA guy most of my career. I like college basketball, but it's probably not number one on my list. And I have never covered an NHL game in my life. So these two things, the big college hoops and the NHL are new for me. So everybody thinks I'm crazy because I just walk around the house saying Jesperi Kotkaniemi over and over so I can get the name down.
So have you ever been to like Cameron Indoor before?
No, I still haven't. Just because we spent that whole first week chasing Belichick.
Yeah.
So no, I've never been there. Never been to the Dean Dome. I've never all the stuff that are the iconic, basketball arenas for this part of the country. No, of course, as you might imagine, I've been to the Durham Bulls Stadium, but that was on a vacation. That was like 5 years ago.
Yeah, I don't think they've ever seen the Durham Bulls covered this much to know what's coming down the pike from Kevin Holden because you're the baseball fanatic.
Yeah, somebody asked me, you think the Durham Bulls need a Spanish broadcaster? I'm like, I don't know if they're ready for all this.
Right. Yeah, that'd be great, wouldn't it? Expanding the Durham Bulls. Hell yeah. Kevin, it's always a pleasure. It's great insight, man. We're glad you landed on your feet. You're doing well. And don't forget to come back and see us. And if we're in that direction, we'll knock on your door, okay?
Absolutely. There's a space open for you anytime. Everybody come down here. There's enough barbecue for everyone, but we will be back. We have so many good friends in Wisconsin, and we miss you guys already. So this will not be the end. You'll be hearing from us plenty, and we'll be knocking on doors and eating custard too.
All right, buddy. All right, buddy. We'll talk to you soon. There you go. Kevin Holden from now CBS 17 in North Carolina. You can find him and watch his stuff at 321Q Kevin. 321Q Kevin. That's a pretty good handle, as a matter of fact. But 321Q Kevin Holden from CBS 17 now down in Carolina. But how about that? You leave Wisconsin and you're thinking, okay, now I'm going to go kind of get into a different genre. And the next thing you know, Bill Belichick shows up at your door. And that's your biggest story. So between the rivalry of Tobacco Road, Carolina Hurricanes, hockey, and now you've got Bill Belichick coming. Man, that's awesome. That's good for Kevin, man. Good for him. Good for his career. And I'm glad to see all of that going on. And they're at the epicenter of the universe right now when it comes to sports in the country. 877-867-1670. This portion of the program brought to you by our friends at the Water Doctors. H2 the letter O doctors.com. The best water softening system out there. I swear by it. Anywhere in the state of Wisconsin, call John Atley and his wife Amber. They have the Water Doctors. But the biggest thing about them is customer service. It's not just the product that's fantastic, it's the customer service that's fantastic. And they have all the different innovations that go along with it. So say you got a cabin and you're going to say, I want to pay attention to it because God forbid a pipe burst. They've got a bot that can actually shut your water off. I kid you not. They got a bot that can shut the water off. And they can have that installed. If you're gone, pipes freeze, whatever, boom. Next thing you know, suddenly it's using too much water. You don't know why. It'll shut itself off until you can figure out why. You got a friend of ours had a toilet was running. They didn't realize that when the kids had flushed the toilet, they broke the toilet. So the toilet was running and running and running, and they were leaving for the weekend. The bot shut the water off and saved them a bunch of money. Now, granted, sometimes the utilities are pretty nice about that, but the toilet broke. And it was just a simple thing like fixing the gasket around the toilet. But nevertheless, it would have run all weekend, all that water, all that money going down the drain, literally. But the bot saved them. They have that as well. That's the Water Doctors. H2 the letter O, doctors.com, or call them 262-549-7733. 262-549-7733. More of the Bill Michaels Show next.
This is the Bill Michaels Show on the Wisconsin Sports Zone Radio Network.
From your best friend who lives on caffeine to your teenager who always forgets to fill up their tank, Quick Trip gift cards are the ultimate holiday hack for everyone on your list. Pick one up in-store or online, and they'll have everything they need. Coffee, snacks, groceries, fuel, and more, all with one thoughtful gift. And honestly, who has time for complicated gift shopping? We know you don't. Give the gift that keeps life moving. Holiday gift cards from Quick Trip.
Bill Michaels will resume in 3 minutes. Bill Michaels will resume in 2 minutes. Bill Michaels will resume in 1 minute. Bill Michaels will resume in 30 seconds.
Man, it's like a snow globe outside right now. Beautiful. I'll take it. It's not going to last. It's probably not going to be here for Christmas Day, but nevertheless. No. Stop it. Stop it. Stop it. Stop it. I like snow on Christmas Day. After that, you can go back to 75 and sunny every damn day of the week. You know where it's always happy and it's always a good place to be? That's DJ's Goalpost on Appleton Avenue in Menominee Falls. And they always want me to tell you, hey, big sports weekend coming up. Man, if you're going to go anywhere and watch the games, that's one of the best places to go because it's like a museum. It's a bobblehead museum. It's a memorabilia museum all together. Great bartenders, great staff, all that over there. And Don is just such a great guy. But DJ's Goalpost on Appleton Avenue in Menominee Falls. And you can just see if you're watching on the live stream, man, it's so many different rooms. They've got pool tables. They've got food. They've got restaurant on one side, the big giant bar on the other, and screens galore right there in the strip mall next to the, I think it's Pick and Save. Over there on Appleton Avenue in Menominee Falls. DJ's Goalpost, whether it's the pizzas, the atmosphere, the memorabilia, or the games, great stuff, great staff, great people. That's DJ's Goalpost on Appleton Avenue in Menominee Falls. There you go. If you're watching on the live stream, that's the Tiki Bar cam. As we put somebody had asked me yesterday to put the camera back outside, so we did. And that's right outside the studio window here. It looks like it's fake. Doesn't it, Grant? It kind of looks like it's not even real because it's like looks like maybe an AI animation or something like that.
Doesn't even look like snow. You know what it looks like? It looks like Christmas magic, Bill. That's what it looks like. It kind of does, though. It's a nice scene. It's nice when you get the big flakes and they come down.
Yeah.
And there's no wind. Did I tell you, by the way, my parents had fake snow on Thanksgiving. So I didn't know about this. Somebody who lived in the hometown where my parents lived, there's a 3M plant and there's a Cardinal glass. They make glass, float glass in Menominee. And I guess over Thanksgiving, the way that the weather and the wind and the temperature all came together, there was this big band of fake snow that like the humidity or whatever formed over the factory and it blew over and it snowed all of Thanksgiving. And I'm like, oh, this is nice. And then someone was like, oh yeah, it's because of the factory. I'm like, well, least it looks pretty. And I don't think it was unhealthy. It just, I don't know. That was kind of cool.
Yeah, well, if you go out and make a snow angel in it, you start itching, then that's a problem. But
then that's a bit of a problem. Just wear lead underwear when you go outside.
Exactly.
It's not a problem.
No big deal. Haven't we all? We've all worn lead underwear at one point or another. You get an X-ray, you don't want your monkey to shrink. There you go. Wear lead underwear. That's what happens. That's why they throw that big cloth over you. That big heavy lead cloth. Yeah, we're not going to get those X-ray, those radiation things right there. Otherwise, you start glowing in the dark and you look like ET coming at me. I don't want that to happen. I feel like I've been drinking today. I have.
You're just finally healthy. It's like Jordan Love. You're just back to back to 100%.
I guess. I really do. I got up. It was funny because somebody from another window company just came to my door during one of the commercial breaks and said, "Hi, I'd like to talk to you about your windows. What brand are they?" And I said, "New." He went, "Oh, okay." Left. They're brand new. But I was walking downstairs. I'm like, I feel like I'm drunk. I really do. I feel like I'm drunk today. I don't know why. It's not like I'm on NyQuil or anything. I didn't take that last night. I feel pretty good. Maybe it's just I'm wide-eyed now.
Were you about to say I quit that stuff?
Right?
You had to kick the habit.
Yeah, I had to kick the habit. I quit. I went from drinking it to shooting it. Tapping a vein. What are you doing? Oh, nothing bad. Just taking some NyQuil. All right, we got another hour yet to go. Don't go anywhere. A whole lot more of the Bill Michaels Show coming up next.
This is a Wisconsin Sports Zone update.
Well, the Packers back on the field for practice today as they prep for Monday night's matchup with New Orleans. That includes wide receiver Christian Watson. The third-year wideout has started to make a big impact in recent weeks. He's got 2 100-yard games over the last 5 games, and he's averaging nearly 30 yards per catch in that time. Coach Matt LaFleur was asked about Watson's impact of late.
I think Christian's been practicing better. I think he's had a great probably last 2 months. He's really showed up, and it's showing up on game day. So he's made a lot of great plays. That catch he made on the sideline, that was big time. He also drew a pass interference call. That was a 40-yard penalty that doesn't show up on the stat sheet, but that was a big-time play. And not to mention, he's blocking his butt off as well.
Again, it'll be the Packers and the Saints on Monday night. Packers could have a playoff spot wrapped up by the time they take the field that night. Turning to the Badgers, they added 2 more players from the transfer portal yesterday. That included wide receiver Jaden Ballard from Ohio State, gives Wisconsin 11 additions from the portal. While they've seen 20-plus guys leave, players have until December 28th to enter the portal, but they don't actually have to choose a school by that point.
For nearly 40 years, ABC Wisconsin Apprenticeship has been helping men and women transform themselves into highly skilled trade professionals. These skills are in demand and provide strong wages and benefits for a bright future. If you're a hands-on person who likes the feeling when you get projects done, apprenticeship could be for you. Go to buildyourcareerwi.org or just search online for ABC of Wisconsin.
Well, the Bucs are headed to Cleveland, where they're going to face off against the Cavs tomorrow as they look to keep their momentum from their NBA Cup win going. Milwaukee's won 11 of their last 13 games. And Wisconsin getting closer to getting back to the court. They face Detroit Mercy on Sunday. With this Wisconsin Sports Zone Network update, I'm Zach Heil, Print.
We are back. Oh, we got a lot to do. I'm not ignoring you over there on the text line. I'm going to get your text messages in. We got stuff everywhere. Got stuff everywhere. So we're going to get into all of that coming up. Hopefully you are having a terrific day. Hopefully you're not having any kind of bad experience on the highways and the byways as the snow continues to fall. It is a gentle snow. It is not a blustery, wind-blowing, nasty blizzard whiteout thing. This is kind of snow globish, as a matter of fact, as you watch there on the live stream for all of you that are over there. So Good stuff. 877-867-1670, 877-867-1670 this weekend. Do a little grilling. I kid you not. Going to head out to the Tiki Bar that you were just looking at. And I got some grilling going on Saturday. That's what I have decided. So a trip to Robert's Specialty Meats is in order. I don't know what I'm going to do yet. I've been craving the thick cut pork chops because I haven't done that in a long time, but that's kind of what I'm gearing towards. But if you're looking for, say, tailgate fare for Monday night, oh my goodness, there's nothing better. It's the pre-made sausages of all different types, the brats, whether the jalapeno brats, the cheddar brats, the bacon cheddar brats. They've got the hot Italians. I mean, you can go on and on and on. They've got something for everybody. Burgers that are pre-made as well. They've got it all. And the Al Capone roast, which is absolutely fantastic. It's like a multitude of meats all gathering together and swirling in one pool of juice that's just going to have some cheese in the middle to kind of keep it coagulated and all together until you stuff it in your grill and just go orgasmically via verbal. Oh, there you have it. That is Robert. Yeah, I'm
writing that down. Multitude of meats swirling in one pool of juices. Okay, I'm going to send that over to Roberts. That's how I describe it,
That's
too.
exactly right. Robert's Specialty Meats in Waukesha. Robert's Specialty Meats, Waukesha.com. That's Sunset Drive in Waukesha. That was like the spoken tapestry of words. Well, every year at Christmas time, I always think about the woven tapestry of profanities hanging out over Lake Michigan when I think of Christmas Story.
You're a painter. You're an artist with your words. I've long said this.
There you go. I don't claim to be much in life. A painter and spewer of crap. There you go. That would be it. You know, if you go back to long time ago, did you ever watch the movie History of the World?
I have not.
It is an old Mel Brooks movie. It's pretty funny. It's a lot of satire in it. But one of the guys, they ask him, you know, what do you do? He's basically standing in an unemployment line window back in the days of Caesar. And he says, I'm a wordsmith and I'm this and I'm that and a comedian. And she looks at him and she goes, oh, you're a BSer, aren't you? You know, she actually uses the word. And I'm like, that's exactly what I am. That's what I am. Yeah. 877-867-1670. Jeff says, hey, do you leave the furniture out all winter out there on the patio? I do. The furniture is all metal. It's kind of aluminum, so it doesn't rust. And the table, even with the wicker backing, is guaranteed for life. And the tiki bar top, I changed out from the actual palm fronds from years ago because every year, didn't matter if I covered it or not, they always got eaten up. So that top that's on the tiki bar is a 25-year synthetic, and it takes about 11 people to pick it up. It's heavy as hell. It's thick as hell too. And so that is something that's weatherproof as well. So that's the reason I bought it. It was a lot more expensive, but you know, instead of spending $300 every year on a top for that thing, I think it was like $1,800, and I don't have to replace it now for 20 years. So I'll be dead before that thing has to be replaced. And if you look for me and you don't hear from me for a while, look under the tiki bar. That's probably where I'm dead. I'll be dead back there. There you go. All right. I got some phone calls to get to. Let's go to Mike listening to us in Rockford. Mike, how you doing, man? What's going on?
Bill, always a pleasure to talk to you. You know, I've been calling you for a while, and, you know, I grew up in the suburbs of Chicago. I've been put out in Rockford for punishment. This is where I have my job. And but anyway, I'm originally from Chicago, grew up a Packer fan, amidst all my Bear fan friends. And I get together with them. Sometimes I drive down to the suburbs there to see them. And I, you know, watched the game with them last week. I went down there to watch the Monday night game a few days ago, and I watched that debacle. And they call me so arrogant. They say, you know, you Packer fans suck because, you know, you could be good and you could beat us, but Aaron Rodgers and his arrogance and just the fans, you could just beat us and shut up about it, but you got to rub it in our face. You guys are the most arrogant fans in football. And I said, you know what? When you're as good as the Packers have been in history, and one of the storied franchises, most Super Bowl wins under Vince Lombardi, won the first Super Bowl. I said, we have a right to be arrogant. I mean, you know, I don't think I'm speaking wrong when I say that. Yeah, there might be some arrogance, but let's look at this, Bill. The Bears, and I hate to talk about them, but I got to laugh because to me, when you watch the mockery of the Bears, it's that muckery, whatever you want to call it. It's almost humorous to watch that organization. Thought they were taking 2 or 3 steps forward, only to take like 25 steps backwards. Right. That team is a dumpster fire mess. I mean, now they're even realizing that a lot of the players they have aren't playing. They have so many holes in their roster. They don't really have a back. Their lines are terrible, both offense and defense. They're a mess, man. And am I wrong for thinking that I'm a little arrogant, or what's your feeling on that, Bill?
The two things. One is I remember the beginning of the year and all the rhetoric coming out of Chicago about how they've got the guy and the team's better than you think, and they're gunning for you, and here we come. Okay, so I have zero sympathy now for where they're at, because there was all talk in the beginning of the season. I mean, they were yapping louder than anybody, and now their team sucks, and it's beyond. It's they've taken another step backwards. It's not even like, hey, it was development of your quarterback. It was like, hey, not only are you not good, you've taken a step back from where you were last year.
Absolutely.
So if you're going to yap in my face and you haven't won anything since '85, and you're still living off of the Bears from the Mike Ditka Bears, and that's all you want to yap, that's fine, okay? But don't sit here and then get pissed off at the Packers fans when you're yapping. You haven't won a damn thing. The Packers beat you at your house for the Hallis Trophy, named after your franchise, and now you want to spew about it. Now you think it sucks because we're kicking your ass? Bite me.
Exactly. And you know what, Bill? If they had any brains, if the McCaskies had any brains left in their keister, they would fire Ryan Poles and give whatever head coach they're going to hire and the next guy a fresh start. They keep overlapping. It's head coach, nope, fired. Then the GM goes. Now that head coach goes, and then the player has to relearn a new system. I mean, I never was sold on Caleb Williams anyway, looking at his talent. But, I'm laughing because I'm thinking to myself, they thought he was the second coming of Jesus Christ. And, and there was no proof. He held on to the ball too long. That was one of his downfalls. Right. Wasn't that the reason they got rid of Justin Fields? And if you were Ryan Poles, you played the offensive line in football, and you don't have the smarts to say, we're drafting a guy that one of his downsides, yeah, he's got a lot of upside, but his downside is that he holds on the ball too long with a very susceptible offensive line. Like, this guy's going to get killed. You could give him 5 of the best receivers in football, and it wouldn't matter because you can't get the ball off. First of all, a normal quarterback's going to get rid of it in 2.5 to 3 seconds, no matter what, doing slant routes and bootlegging, coming out, running, getting out of the pocket. This guy stands back there. I never saw a quarterback play that stupid. He runs 20 yards backwards right in the middle of the pocket, and he gets sacked. I never seen nothing like it. It's an absolute joke, Bill. I'll hang up and listen, but I'm loving it. And you know what? I got to say one thing to say to us Packer fans. When the 80s, when the Packers sucked, Bear fans were arrogant as all hell. And trust me, I'm 62 and I remember it well. So, Bill, have a great day, and thanks for taking my call.
All right, buddy. Appreciate it, man. He's all fired up. There's nothing wrong with that. I like that. I like it a lot. Here's the thing with the argument with the Bears. I think Ryan Poles has done a pretty good job. He took they have DJ Moore. They picked up Adunze. They had Keenan Allen. They brought him in from the Chargers. Their big left tackle, Braxton Jones, has been down. He's been banged up. Their offensive line was okay. They upgraded a little bit last year. They probably could do a little bit more. Darnell Wright, I think, is a pretty good right tackle. Tevin Jenkins is okay, but they could use a little bit of an upgrade. Their defense was pretty solid. After they picked up Montez Sweat in the trade last year, their defense was really good. Where they made the mistake was not getting rid of Eberflus and not scrapping it and bringing in somebody that was offensive-minded and somebody that could then bring in whatever coach was going to come in and bring in a guy that could work directly with Caleb Williams on whatever flaws he had coming out of college to drill it into his head. You can't do that in the pros because it's not going to work. I completely agree with him. Now, I'm not saying Caleb Williams is a bust because I'm not going to go that far. I do think he has talent, but how much have they ruined him in this first year to where he just won't get these bad habits now out of his head? And it's proven that he's also not necessarily been the leader that they want him. Did you see him over this past week when he got beat up in Minnesota and he's laying on the side and he's rolling back and he's like, oh, my body. You could see him mouthing, oh, my body, oh, my body. And some of the linemen, I guess, took offense to that going, dude, we're out there getting our brains beat in for you every game, every play, and you're hanging onto the damn ball. And you're over here complaining about your body like your body means more than ours. So he's not even, and again, I might be putting words in some of these guys' mouths, but this was some of the reaction from some of the linemen kind of, off cuff, so to speak. So I am waiting to find out what it is they're going to do this offseason, and if they're going to try to fix this thing properly, or if they're going to do the McCaskey way and do McCaskey things and Bears things, and they're just going to continue to screw it up. As a Packers fan, you kind of hope they do. But Bears fans don't, there's some Bears fans that are pretty understanding. I got a buddy of mine. He's a sheriff down in Walworth County. He's a Bears fan. And he's just like, oh, God, this sucks. And he admits it. Look, but there were some that at the beginning of the season, like, we're coming for you. We're hunting you, this and that. And I mean, they were pretty arrogant about it. Those are the ones you think of. It's like Cubs fans, the obnoxious Cub fan. Those are the ones you think of when the Brewers beat the Cubs or when the Packers beat the Bears. It's not the quiet ones that are the norms that understand what's going on or how bad things are. It's not that. It's the ones that are the obnoxious, arrogant ones. And believe me, there's a lot of that comes out of the state of Illinois. Obnoxious and arrogant, even though they haven't won a damn thing since Moses was a baby. So, nah, baby, nah. I don't lighten up on that at all. And then, hey, if they beat the Packers and they beat them once, do you think if they beat the Packers one time, like if they would have beat the Packers earlier this year, like they wouldn't be mouthing like crazy right now? Wow, hey, we're not going to the postseason, but we beat you. We knocked you down. They'd love nothing more than to knock the Packers down, and you'd have to listen to it. But until you get sustained winning, which you haven't had over the Green Bay Packers in what now, 30 plus years? Come on, man. Come on. Even when you had now the guy that actually walked the walk a little bit, that was Lovie Smith. He was at least able. I mean, when he stood it and took the job, the day he took the job as a Bears head coach, he said, my first goal is to beat the Packers. That's it. And they were able to beat the Packers. He was able to get that team to a Super Bowl. They weren't able to win, obviously, against Peyton Manning and the Colts, but he at least got them to a Super Bowl. They had a little bit of success, but they haven't done anything since. It's just been an embarrassment. So until you beat consistently the Green Bay Packers and until you win a championship game at Lambeau Field to grab the Hallis Trophy back, the Packers got it over on you right now. You're just gonna have to sit back, relax, and take it. That's it. 877-867-1670, 877-867-1670. If you want to hit us up, please feel free. Go ahead and do so. 877-867-1670. Tom says Lions fans obnoxious and arrogant to us now. You know what? I haven't run into a lot of Lions fans that were obnoxious and arrogant. I think more jubilation than anything. Just when, I was up at Lambeau for the Lions game in that rainstorm, and there were some of them that were, a little bit, but for the most part, they loved to go into Lambeau Field. It was on their bucket list. They were there to cheer on their team. They weren't obnoxious about it. But yeah, if you're a Lions fan and you're getting obnoxious, you should slow your roll, because karma can happen at any point in time. And we've seen it happen to you each and every week so far this season, to the point where your team is so decimated that it might just be too much to come back from at this point. So 877-867-1670. Don't go anywhere. A whole lot more of the Bill Michaels Show coming up. Got a lot more to get into, and I want to get back into as much as I can anyway. Those that are over on the text line as well. This portion of the program brought to you by, they are talking about a smoking New Year right there in Okauchee Lake. If you're looking for something to do New Year's Eve, they've got the smoking New Year going on in Okauchee Lake at Smoke on the Water Okauchee, at the Smoke on the Water BBQ Okauchee, if you're going to follow them on Facebook or Instagram. But they've got dinner, they got music, they got cocktails, champagne, all that kind of good stuff, which is what everybody else does. But you're looking for the best place to go with the best people and the most fun time, right? That's what everybody's looking for. That is Smoke on the Water on Okauchee Lake. And then the next day you get up, you're looking around at each other and you're going, was it a good night? We had a great night. I had a great night. Hell yeah, I had a wonderful time. Let's go to Sloppy Joe's Saloon and Spoon. You go there for breakfast the next day, Bloody Marys, some good breakfast, some football up there on the tube. Hell yeah, that's Smoke on the Water in Okauchee, Sloppy Joe's Saloon and Spoon. Two great places owned by one great set of people. That's Joe and Ellen Hennis. Make your reservations now. Stay tuned. More of the Bill Michaels Show coming up next.
Covering Wisconsin sports like a blanket. This is the Bill Michaels Show on the Wisconsin Sports Zone Radio Network.
Bill Michaels will resume in 3 minutes. Bill Michaels will resume in 2 minutes. Bill Michaels will resume in 1 minute. Bill Michaels will resume in 30 seconds.
Great Lakes Dragaway down in Union Grove, Wisconsin. The oldest operating track in the world. They're going to put the season passes on sale for 2025 right around the corner. You got the Need for Speed. Yeah, that might be the way to go. Check out our friends at Great Lakes Dragaway. Don't forget about the 2025 race season coming up, whether it's you racing your own, something you tinker on in the backyard, or maybe you want to kind of think about going pro. Maybe you got a motorcycle you want to run, or maybe you just want to go down there and watch some great drag racing action with that newly paved track and such that's starting to set some records down there. That's our friends at Great Lakes Dragaway. Great Lakes Dragaway, Union Grove, Wisconsin. Give them a call, 262-302-2138, 262-302-2138, or check them out at greatlakesdragaway.com. That's greatlakesdragaway.com. And they've got all kinds of gift ideas down there. If you want to get somebody, even some swag. There you go. I want to get to this because we've got so much from people all over that have been texting us today from the text line. And weird questions, too. The Brad in Sturgeon Bay said, I'd like to rant about Jim in Manitowoc. He told me about his Scotch collection and then never shared it with me. I'm just Jim and Manitowoc. There you go. Just people are mad at you because you were talking about Scotch and you're not sharing it. Then I got Jason from Beloit said, where do you take your lawn equipment to get serviced? I'm not ignoring today the text line because the text line's got a lot of good stuff today. I go to Spears. Spears is near me. He's a little more expensive, but he's really, really good. So I know that I don't have a problem with it after I take it over there at Spears lawn service equipment or small engine repair, basically, in Waukesha. This is out of the 608. Bill, do you see the NCAA getting to be like Major League Baseball with NIL in the portal where only small percentage of teams are going to be able to legitimately afford the top talent? No, here's the reason. Because top talent is going to want to be recognized. So if top talent all goes to the big schools where they're paying the most money, that's great. You're going to get money. But if you have aspirations to go to the next level, you may not play for a while. So there's always going to be that trickle-down effect for those that are going to get pieces that the big market teams, so to speak, aren't going to be able to play right away. So they may pay extra for them to stay there. But I think ultimately players want to play for the most part. So that would be my thought. So I think that everybody is going to get talent that's going to be upper level? Not everybody, no. But it's too wide open. It just is. And I get it that you're supposed to be, quote, student athletes. Well, that's out the window now. You're hired guns, basically. So I don't know, other than making these players contracted employers and some contractual employees in some way, shape, or form, I don't know how else to fix the problem. And that's something for, smarter people than me. But at some point, they're going to have to do something about it. Or you're just going to watch money basically implode the college sports system. Unless they take it like the semi-pro and then suddenly the NFL gets involved or something, which I don't think the NFL wants to do. They don't want to get into all of that mess. David Monona says that the problem is every Monday when he says he needs to work on something, it happens all the time, every big game, and enough is enough. No, he's not doing a good job. That's from Matt LaFleur. And you know what? There are people that feel that way. That if you're going to say each and every week, hey, this is the same thing and I have to fix it and we got to do better and we got to coach better and this and that. And I get it. Nobody wants to hear the same excuse for the same problem each and every week. I understand that. And I said that, as a matter of fact, I tweeted it and posted it this weekend when you talked about such a fast start, when they got up to a good start in Seattle. And that first half, man, was a really solid first half. And I was thinking to myself, man, I don't want to see them take their foot off the gas and I don't want to see a second half decline. And then you did. And as the game wound down, the one thing I said was, I don't want to hear about how great this coaching staff is from Seattle and how great a job it is and how great of players they had. What I want to know is, why is there a stumble? Why do you stumble? That's what I want to know. Now, you can't play perfect every game, and he's gone through it. To Matt LaFleur's credit, I give him credit because he's gone through it. He's talked about it, that here's the reasons why. We had a guy slip and fall on a route when we had him wide open. We had a play design for this guy, and this ended up happening. This guy ran free. How we let this guy go unblocked, I have no idea. Okay, so there were reasons why things did not work out. And you understand it. And he addressed it. And I give him credit for it. But then you also expose yourself to, okay, now why did that happen? Why is it when this team just seemingly has the momentum, why do they constantly either allow that momentum to shift or, this has happened a couple of times where they've gotten off to these leads and they look really good. And then all of a sudden, here you go. Teams start to creep back into this thing. And you're needing something. You need something to change the momentum. And then finally, the defense gets a turnover or something. And you're like, okay, now you can breathe a little bit. But why does it get to the point where you're playing such dominant football to where all of a sudden you can feel your own self as a fan start to clamp up a little bit? Because here comes the momentum swing. It's kind of like a run in the NBA. It doesn't matter if you got a 40-point lead or not. The other team's going to make a run and all of a sudden it's going to get close. And by the end of the game, somebody's taking a last-second shot to win the game. And it's going to – because it is. Because of the usage of threes and load management, all the other crap that goes along with it. It's coming. And that's the way you feel about being a Packers fan. So I get it. I completely understand. You'd love to see them just be able to say, here you go. Out of the 618, here's a question for you, Bill. I've always felt that both Brett Favre and Aaron Rodgers were wasted, that we should have had a dynasty with both of them with about 3 Super Bowls each, like the Steelers, 49ers, and Cowboys did. With the talent that Favre and Rodgers had, it seemed like it was just wasted, and our chance at the dynasties with each of them went up in smoke for whatever reason. I don't know if they wouldn't put up the help around them that they needed or just bad luck or whatever, but I think we should have had more Super Bowls out of each of them. Your thoughts? My answer to that is yes. Yeah, I would agree with that. You should have had 2 Super Bowls with Favre in back-to-back. I just, in working with Leroy Butler for all those years, they knew that they were the better team. They were better than Denver. They just couldn't flip the switch. They just felt like, hey, we're the champs. We're here. We rolled again. We can do this, no problem. And then they got punched in the mouth, and you can't just flip the switch against a really good football team, and they couldn't turn it back on. But everybody took it for granted. So yes, in the case of Aaron Rodgers, I think the year they went 15-1, they ignored the signs. I think that there were times Ted didn't do enough. Ted tried to outsmart everybody, tried to be the smartest guy in the room and putting square pegs into round holes, you know? And, you know, you don't need to look any further than a guy like Justin Harrell. Like, what are you doing? You know, now by the time Ted left the podium and finished talking with us about, you know, a guy like Justin Harrell and Jay Dayton Jones and all the different guys that he drafted, you walked away going, okay, boy, he's really got a line on this guy. But you could see other guys come and go, and you're like, why are you drafting this guy when nobody's even thinking? This guy's not even on people's radar, you know? And I don't think Ted did enough. And Ted was not going to be a player in free agency, hardly at all. And you needed it. So I think, yeah, there was a couple of things that were wasted, to be perfectly honest with you. And look, Ron Wolf has said it in interview after interview. In times that we've sat down and talked, he said, look, I just didn't do enough to put that extra piece around Brett weaponry wise, wide receiver wise, to get us over the top. You're always chasing another position, you know? Hey, Dr. Pepper says, Bill, curious, what did you do with the UPS body bag that you posted yesterday? It had a star on it. It's actually from Macy's. I found out what it is. Kristen had ordered these big duvet covers for the guest rooms, and that's the way they were delivered. So it looks like a big body, but it's big, puffy duvet covers to go over your comforter. So there you go. Robin Stoddard said, Bill, it's snowing and I have the show on grilling brats and hot dogs. 98 days until Major League Baseball opening day. There you go. There you go. Way to be, right? You got a little bit of summertime thoughts going on. You're grilling, but you're enjoying the snow. You're out. That's nice. That's a nice way to go, man. It's a nice way to go. Cody from Lodi said, I think if the Packers can get a 2-score lead, we should start giving the other backs some extra work. Start giving Josh Jacobs a little bit of rest for the playoff run. No need to overpound him right now. There's little at stake the next 3 weeks, although he should still get early work, which you got to get the wins right now. Positioning, you don't want to be that 7th seed and have to go to Philadelphia. Not yet. Not yet. Rick from Spencer said, so with all the players on IR, do you think to finally replace the damned turf in Detroit? If they haven't already, I would say yes. That'll be next up on the docket for the Detroit Lions. If they haven't already, yes. No doubt. And then our buddy Monona Steve says they just need to keep their foot on the opponent's throat. And 100% agree. By the way, Grant, Ed in Menominee says that at the south end of the Broadway Bridge in Menominee, northbound lane, he said he'll know where it is. This was 30 minutes ago, he said. I have no idea what that means. I mean, he said you'll know where it is.
Well, what about?
He sent me a picture of a car crash.
Oh, well, yeah, I know where that bridge is. Okay, I'll log in and look at the picture. Now I got to see.
Matt says there was a 25-car pileup because of the factory snow that we were speaking of. Was it like slick or something?
There wasn't that much of it. It was like a scenic thing.
Okay. Well,
more than anything else.
The only time I remember anything that was factory generated being bad for the roadways, back when I worked in Cincinnati, we were covering a story where a tanker truck that was filled with it wasn't cooking oil, it was like grease, like fat, like used grease. It went over it in an on-ramp, a turn that would go 75 northbound. And it went over 74, where 74 meets 75. You can go south all the way into Cincinnati or 75 north, and that'll take you towards Dayton, Ohio. And 74 comes in and it splits. And on the 75 northbound ramp, this tanker truck rolled over. And it was like, I just remember I was flying in the chopper at the time doing traffic. And it was just cars would hit it. And it was just like watching a hockey puck just bang, 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 and then down the ramp they would go. They finally had to shut the ramp down. So they had a fire crew come in, and the fire trucks took the water and they blasted it off and they scrubbed it and everything. And then the next day, the minute the ground would heat up, the oil would come out of the concrete and boom, 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 same thing. So it went on for like 3 days. I mean, there was 25, 30 crashes in 3 days. It was crazy. And in Cincinnati, that's the home of Procter & Gamble. Procter & Gamble actually sent out, and I think I've told this story before, a tanker truck of Dawn dishwashing soap. And the fire, it just sprayed it. It dropped it there, sprayed it, and then the firemen got out with the scrub brushes and the bristle brooms and scrubbed it in and then washed it off and then threw some of that kitty litter stuff down, and it was gone. That was it. It broke it up, and that was like the ultimate commercial for a while. It was Dawn dishwashing soap takes any grease out of your way, and that's exactly what it did. So I remember something like that. That was the only time I ever saw like a factory-oriented crash because of something that was on the roadways, was because of back fat or I don't know, some kind of used grease or fat or something that spilled all over the highway. But anyway. All right. Well, smoke them if you got them. Let's do this. We're going to go ahead and take a quick break. We got a lot more of the Bill Michaels Show. Don't go anywhere. We got more coming up right after this.
Covering Wisconsin sports like a blanket. This is the Bill Michaels Show on the Wisconsin Sports Zone Radio Network.
Ho, 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 my back.
Santa?
Ho, 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 Gina Della from Pella. You've been a good girl this year.
Is that why you're in here building new windows?
Yes. Next year, how about just asking for a Pella gift card? My elves are used to designing windows from other places where they're all pretty much the same. But Pella, ho, 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 so many customizations and designs. My elves aren't qualified, so Santa has to put in some overtime. Ho,
Let me make a call. BRB.
Frighteningly fast pellet team at your service. Let us take it from here, Mr. Claus. And Gina, next time.
Yeah, I know. Santa already lectured me. Ask for a Pella gift card.
What if you need new windows or doors, but you're on the naughty list?
Right now at Pella Windows and Doors of Wisconsin, get as low as $19 per window and $81 per patio door per month.
Ho, ho, ho. Visit the Pella site. And to all, a good night.
PellaWI.com. Certain restrictions apply and 12/31/2024.
Bill Michaels will resume in 5 minutes. Bill Michaels will resume in 4 minutes. Bill Michaels will resume in 3 minutes. Bill Michaels will resume in 2 minutes. Bill Michaels will resume in 1 minute. Bill Michaels will resume in 30 seconds.
Welcome back to the program. Our friends over there at Buzzard Billy's. If you're out shopping, you're out looking for something warm to kind of throw in you on a snowy day like today, heck yeah, Buzzard Billy's. They've got tremendous Wisconsin beer cheese soup. They just do, man. Go in there and grab some of that, maybe a buffalo chicken sandwich or some of the Alfredo that they have there as well. The shrimp Alfredo. Oh, that is so good. But it's spicy. A little kick to it. Love it. Then you head upstairs to the Starlight Lounge, got yourself a craft cocktail, sit upstairs, look down on the street on Pearl Street down below, watch some of the snowfall. Man, what a great night that is. Buzzard Billy's, Starlight Lounge, Pearl Street, La Crosse, Wisconsin. Great stuff, great people, and just a good place to go. Just enjoy yourself out there. Our buddy Paul Charchian. Charch, how you doing, pal?
You know, like once out of every 30 times I try to connect on the system we use, like everything blows up and I just get static. And of course, this was the time. Sorry about that.
That's okay. That's okay. We got snow going on. We've got a nice scene on the live stream right now. So we're good.
Yeah,
we're good.
Same. Hey, are you working next Thursday or is this our last chat of the year?
No, we're not working next Thursday. We'll be here next Thursday.
You will be. All right, good.
Yes.
All right, we'll talk next Thursday.
Yep. Thursday is going to be our last one. So unfortunately or fortunately, depending on how you look at it. So, hey, the biggest question right now is should they sit him or should he play? And it's Patrick Mahomes. And he's going to play. Come on, right?
Yeah, he's going to play for sure. But I don't like him for fantasy. He's my quarterback 20 this week. Let's talk it through. He's got this bad ankle, high ankle sprain. I worry about Mahomes' trademark ability to extend plays. You know, the escapability, you know, he's so deadly is when he breaks pocket and he's running laterally and then he's delivering downfield. And if he can't do that, that worries me. And the other part of it is this team's just churning through left tackles. DJ Humphries, he's the presumed starter, but he's hurt. Joe Tooney. And they are going up against Will Anderson and Danielle Hunter, arguably the best edge rushers in the NFL.
Don't those two between them have like 26 sacks?
That sounds right. I think Hunter's at 12 and Will's at 10. I don't know. So maybe you're right. I don't know. Something like that. And so, I mean, I really worry. No escapability. You've got Danielle Hunter, Will Anderson. Yeah, I think there's real trouble here. The two tackles, Humphries and Tooney, the last 2 weeks, just have been dominated. They've given up 15 quarterback pressures just in the 2 games. So I see a lot of quick, rushed passes coming from Patrick Mahomes that don't end up equaling fantasy points.
I'm going to ask, because you had a long history with this guy, but Kirk Cousins gets benched. Here comes Michael Penix Jr.
Yeah.
First of all, were you surprised that Kirk got benched?
No, because the play had been so bad for a month. It was just, the arm's dead. There's nothing left in the arm. And, I did not think that the Achilles would take so much velocity out of his arm, but he doesn't plant right. And the other part I don't like, I won't have to spend a lot of time on this, but they play him out of shotgun all the time. And that's just, he's never been a shotgun quarterback. I don't think the Falcons have used him very well either, but he deserved the benching. Michael Penix comes in now, and what he does, at University of Washington, he delivered accurate downfield, aggressive, deep passing, and the Falcons need that desperately. They're clinging to playoff hope. I think they're going to throw downfield in this one, and I actually like the prospects of Drake London and Darnell Mooney more with Penix, even in his first start, than what we were getting out of Kirk Cousins. So I've nudged those guys up a little bit. And what we've seen, first-round quarterbacks in their first ever start over the last 5 years are actually performing pretty well. And so I think you got an opportunity here. I wouldn't start Penix, but I do like his receivers. Well, not Kyle Pitts, because he does not count. We like players who actually care. Care about the game of football and are committed to winning. That's not Kyle Pitts. But yeah, I think Mooney and Drake London, startable.
Cleveland has an interesting scenario because their quarterback, Dorian Thompson-Robinson, you could have fantasy, what you would call it, fantasy up and down, so to speak, as the effect of him starting and playing. You know what I mean? Yeah.
A high level of variability here, in part because the Bengals, the opponent, are objectively the worst defense in the league right now, but more on that in a second. What we've seen of Dorian Thompson-Robinson to this point is horrible. He's thrown 146 NFL passes, which is not a tiny sample size. He has 1 touchdown against 7 interceptions. And since coming into the league 2 years ago, of the 62 quarterbacks to throw at least 100 passes, Dorian Thompson-Robinson ranks 62nd in passer rating, dead last. His passer rating's 42. So it's the Bengals. They're awful, and especially against the pass, but I think Robinson's just brutal, and I can't put we're in the semifinals. I can't put my prospects into the hands of Dorian Thompson-Robinson.
A couple of things, because I know we got a little bit late today, but I look at this. First of all, you got a great game coming up tonight. I'm excited for it. But you got games all weekend. So you got the Thursday, a couple Thursdays ago, Jaden Reed, 0 catches. Last Thursday, Cooper Kupp, 0 catches. And then all of a sudden, now you've got guys that they say, oh, we missed them, so now we got to go back to them. So when a guy is up and down like that, how reliable do you feel as far as giving him a ranking when it comes to fantasy?
Well, the question I'm getting all week is about Ladd McConkey playing tonight for the Chargers. This is he's such a pivotal part to their offense, and he's going up against the Broncos, a very good defense led by Patrick Surtain, and Surtain's great. And so, McConkey's been great too, by the way. Over the last 4 games, he's averaging 7 catches, 95 yards a game. He's been terrific. Here's the thing you need to know about McConkey. He runs from the slot almost entirely. Patrick Surtain, this is the one area he never goes to. 6% of his plays are from the slot. That's it. So McConkey will avoid Patrick Surtain. Denver's slot cornerback is Jaquan McMillan. Not great, allowing 72% catch rate and 45 yards per game in his coverage. That is a winnable matchup for Ladd McConkey. So I don't think we're going to go 0 catch Jaden Reed, 0 catch Cooper Kupp, 0 catch Ladd McConkey, because he runs from the slot. He doesn't have to see Patrick Surtain.
The run game for the Chargers coming up tonight, because I think, first of all, Bo Nix has done a fantastic job, and certainly Sean Payton for everything he did last year and the way he was outspoken and took a lot of heat. This year has just turned it around and been amazing. But Harbaugh was a guy that was going to come in. They were going to run the ball. They relied on Justin Herbert and the wide receivers a lot this season. They're still a good team. They're just not to that level yet. And I think you give Harbaugh another year and they'll be there. But no run game really there right now.
Right, and this was supposed to be a power running game. That's that's what Jim Harbaugh does. Bring in Greg Roman as your offensive coordinator, and they're objectively terrible since J.K. Dobbins went down. When he went down, he was a candidate for comeback player of the year. Now your Chargers starting running back Gus Edwards, brutal, averaging 3.4 yards per carry. here we are, an NFL starting running back on a team that wants to run the ball. Gus Edwards hasn't topped 36 yards in 5 straight games. And here's Denver. They haven't allowed a rushing touchdown in 5 games. Well, thanks to Jonathan Taylor throwing away a touchdown last week. And so it's a brutal matchup. Can't start Gus Edwards in your fantasy semifinals.
I did get a question, and they wanted to know your thoughts on running Derrick Henry this week. How good is Derrick Henry against this Pittsburgh Steelers defense? And remember, TJ Watt's got a banged up ankle.
I love him this week. Here's why. He's coming off a big game of rest. He only had, I believe, 14 carries last week because Baltimore got way ahead, and they subbed him out, and then they let Justice Hill go run. So here's what's happened after Derrick Henry's come off rest games this year. Week 5, he had 15 carries. The next week, 24. Week 8, he had 11 carries. The next week, 23 carries. Week 11, he had 13 carries. Next week, 24 carries. So coming off a 14, I believe, carry game last week, I think he's primed for a big, heavy workload here, and I love Derrick Henry this week.
We saw A.J. Brown complain about targets, and all of a sudden he was basically the focus of the Eagles. Now the Eagles have the Washington Commanders this weekend. What does A.J. Brown all of a sudden do to the Commanders?
Well, and Squeaky Wheel got the grease. And for star players, it usually does go that way. But fantasy players know all too well, A.J. Brown was just totally scattershot all year. And mostly, though, it's not because A.J. Brown's not good. It's because the Eagles just don't pass. They've got the league's lowest passing play percentage, just 44%. And here's the other weird thing about A.J. Brown that's really hurt his fantasy value. Despite his big frame, and a guy who at the stripe, he could take 3 strides forward, just box out a defender and get easy touchdowns. He has 0 targets from inside the 5-yard line this year. They never give him the easy touchdowns from inside the 5. Now, this week, he's got Washington, a fascinating matchup with Marshawn Lattimore, who came back last week. He didn't even get thrown at last week. Lattimore is one of the biggest, most physical corners in the league, and he gets to go up against A.J. Brown, one of the biggest, most physical receivers in the league. So that's going to be a great matchup here. I've got A.J. Brown as wide receiver 16, still going to start him, but I don't think the squeaky wheel thing, I don't think that continues another week here.
And last question, then I'm going to let you go. Baker Mayfield or Sam Darnold this weekend?
I love Baker Mayfield in this one, and it's nice that Jalen McMillan has emerged as a quality target for Baker, and that's really helped him a lot. Mike Evans, obviously great, and they're trying to power Mike Evans to his 11th consecutive 1,000-yard season, and they're just pounding balls into him, and I love it. It's fantastic. So Baker's been great for most of this year. He's been just set it and forget it kind of guy, and I believe that they're still on that trajectory here. I've got Baker Mayfield at quarterback 7.
There you go. That's our guy, Paul Charchian, and Charch with great advice as far as going into your fantasy tonight, which begins tonight, and then all weekend long. Hey, I got an announcement out of Milwaukee. A long time staple in Milwaukee is closing after 60 years of business. I'll tell you what that is when we come back. Don't go anywhere. We got another segment yet to go. The Bill Michaels Show. We'll be back right after this.
Ready? This is the Bill Michaels Show on the Wisconsin Sports Zone Radio Network.
Bill Michaels will resume in 3 minutes. Bill Michaels will resume in 2 minutes. Bill Michaels will resume in 1 minute. Bill Michaels will resume in 30 seconds.
Good to have you back. As you can see, if you're watching on a live stream, the snow has lightened up. I guess we're due for another dose coming up here a little bit later on, but nevertheless, we don't have the snow falling right now, which is okay. I'm good with that. Good with that. What do we got coming up tomorrow on the program as we wind up our Football Friday? Because we didn't do? We got to make a pick for tonight's game.
Oh yeah, let's pick
picks
tonight's game. We can do the rest tomorrow. That's a good call.
What's the spread, by the way, on tonight? Do you know?
So I haven't even looked at tonight. I have our data.
Holy crap!
On,
how did we miss that?
I know. So tonight's what? The Chargers and the Broncos.
Chargers and Broncos.
Right?
Broncos on the road.
So let me pull it up here at FanDuel. I don't like the ESPN bet spreads. They're always a little fruity. There's too many round numbers. So Denver is the Chargers at home favored by 2.5.
Chargers at home favored by 2.5. I'm gonna take Denver. I don't know why. I just have a feeling Denver's playing better ball, and their defense is really good. So I'm going to take. Although I think it's very negligible. I went through the picks last night, and I said I might change my pick, but I'm going to go with Denver in this one. Bo Nix is playing pretty good. They're able to run the ball. Their defense is pretty stifling, and the run game of the Chargers is not nearly as good as what they probably need it to be. They're going to put it all on Justin Herbert's shoulders. So as much as they want to run the ball, and we talked about this with Charchian, they haven't been able to do it. So I'm gonna go with the Denver Broncos on the road tonight.
Not without J.K. Dobbins. They haven't been able to do it, which is weird. I will take the Chargers because I think Denver, as good as the defense is and as well as they've gotten by on offense, I don't even still know that Bo Nix is all that great as a rookie.
Yep.
So the Chargers at home, although there'll probably be lots of Broncos fans there, but I'll take the Chargers. By the way, on the season, we're within a pick of each other. You have hit 118 out of your 223 picks. I've hit 117 out of our 223
Which puts us at what percent? Our winning percentage is over 50.
Yeah, 51 to 52%, somewhere in there.
Yeah.
So we're right in the money. You've been in the money comfortably. I had to kind of climb my way back up a little bit. I have a legit gripe. We should both have a legit gripe with the way that Washington, New Orleans ended, with the way they let the clock run.
Right.
Because we both had Washington minus 7.5. And I'm pissed at the Jets because if Breece Hall doesn't score that touchdown at the end, if they just take a knee and kick a field goal, then Jacksonville covers the 3. And I felt like I should have won that game, but whatever. That's gambling. That's how it works. But those are things that are sticking in my craw.
Okay. Well, there we go. So tomorrow we'll get into our picks. Tomorrow we'll do that. We got Mike Clemens. It's going to be doing. By the way, did you see Mike's video? Mike's up in the snow. There. By the way, Jair is practicing today. Bullard and Quay Walker are not. Bullard and Quay Walker are not practicing today. But by the way, this hit the wire a couple of minutes ago. The Wisconsin cornerback Xavier Lucas, he has entered the draft port or the transfer portal.
Really good player.
So that hurts.
I was talking with Zach a little bit. A player who they played over other guys who have since transferred because they felt like they should have been playing over Xavier Lucas. So those guys left, and now so has this guy, the one they elected to play. So yeah, it's bad, very bad.
So there you go. That just gets you caught up. But tomorrow we got Mike Clemens going to join us, and whatever else happens to happen. So. So tonight you've got the Chargers. I've got the Broncos. The Chargers 2.5-point favorites. So we'll see what transpires. I can't wait. I got football on my mind now. So and then football all day tomorrow, and I'm giddy. So enjoy the snow. Stay safe. I guess it's supposed to be like round 2 coming up a little bit later on this afternoon, and then overnight tonight if you live on the lakeshore counties. And then we'll all reconvene back here 20 hours from now. Not a bad way to go on a fun day today. It was a wild day today. I still feel like I'm a little bit drunk. I don't know why, but I do. So there you have it. All right. Until we talk again 20 hours from now, time for us to go. Have a